It's a different type of week this week. I'm getting over a little something. I had to do a little 5-day quarantine. If you guys watched, if you watched Sunday's show, you could tell there wasn't something right with me. Tested and there wasn't something right with me. So, but in the meantime, after I got that all taken care of, I was talking to Pete and he's like, I'm just not gonna make it back. Delaware's way too much fun. I'm drinking out of big cups with other dudes.
Delaware's like that. I lived there for a couple of years.
He got that Delaware life. He sold the comic book.
Yeah.
So then I had this weird COVID dream about like maybe having a tax show about having guys that I know for a fact that actually sell comic books. Listen, I've been calling out a lot of people lately saying that influencers don't sell books. So I decided to call some people that actually do, and they're in different situations. And today we're going to talk about it. We will have news first, though. There's no Cap intro. There's going to be no rants or ravings. There's just going to be real talk tonight. So I hope you guys enjoyed this show. We hit the intro. Okay, so before we get into the news, I want to introduce a couple people real quickly. First, below, my Bargain Comics, Steve Horn. Over the last couple of years, I don't think there's personally anybody I've talked to more about the change in the marketplace and really like the facts and figures and some of the boring stuff too, just how our incorporations work, our taxes work, who we hire to do that type of stuff. Like the boring stuff, like literally the boring stuff. When you think you've filled up too much. And we're going to get into a lot of that stuff, but we're not going to talk about the taxes and that shit, but we're going to get into like collection buying, stuff like that. But I got Steve Horn here for that, especially because he does stuff a little bit different. So he'll give you insight. And we're not just going to be sitting here bragging like, yo, son, I sold a book for $3, dude, and I picked like 10 of them up. We're going to tell you some of the things that we did wrong, like some things that have happened over the years, because we got a bunch of years in it. I've also got Dublo. He's a local. We've set up across cons to each other. I know he sells. I know he's changed around his style a little bit too much, like I have for doing sales and stuff like that. And then we got Darth Lopez, another guy who I've spent hours on the phone with Lopez too. I think that's how Lopez first reached out. He's like, yo, can I ask you a legitimate question about selling books? And I was like, yeah, man, here's my number. Was that it, Lopez?
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. I was like, yeah, here's my number. Feel free.
That and Star Wars. That and Star Wars.
Yeah, we talked about Star Wars, but yeah, that's how we start out. So
yeah, I'm the little guy. I'm the little seller.
Yeah, but it's just different. It's just different ways, and we'll talk about how we each do it a little bit differently. And then we're gonna have Wayseeker in too. He's a guy you've seen him before on the Star Wars show, and he's kind of been kind enough to come in and give us his insight too and how he sees things, because I think we all see it a little bit differently. But before that, let's get into some fun stuff. Let's get into some of the news. JJ, I want to thank Pete real quickly for putting together the thumbnail, even though he's not here. He's got a hangover from drinking a mule with another dude. Did you guys see that? He had that mule with 4 straws. It was him and just one dude, like sucking as hard as they could out of it. I'm not saying anything. Their wives just let him go crazy that night. So just not a good look.
The Mango 2, 1 in 50, huh?
Yeah. Get out of here. All right, top stories this week. Thank you, JJ, for putting these together for us. House of Dragons premieres, draws nearly 10 million viewers, biggest HBO series premiere. Did you guys see this?
Yes, I did.
I did. I watched it last night.
Holy shit, I love it. I read all the books. I've read the side books. I've read the egg and dunk in the egg. I've read all the stuff. I read and this is better than the show. This is better than the original show. This is better than Game of Thrones, in my opinion.
Let's not get carried away just yet.
I haven't read any of the books, and we've seen all of the original show, and this was so good, so much more. I was very impressed. I wasn't sure going in, but I thought it was fantastic.
Especially because of how they ended. Like, it seemed like the last season's kind of started struggling along. Like, you had the bloody wedding, which I think they over the top did that version. Really. I mean, it's old take, but
the comics still aren't selling.
Huh? Yeah,
the comics still aren't selling.
Yeah, big surprise, right? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I thought this was pretty good. Like, I thought they did a great job on this. I'm looking forward to it. I was disappointed it was only one. These are one I wish they had it. Oh my god, I forgot to say hi to everybody. Holy shit. Eric, good to see you. BK, I'm here to find out how many changed in Marco Pio sales for Star Wars 26 and The Mandalorian.
BK.
I would probably be in the negative hole if that was my game. Frank Frankie, okay. Who got preview 408? Fire.
I'm gonna go get it.
No, don't go get it.
Yeah,
all right, go get it. Go get it. All right, Marv. A bunch of
IRS.
IRS, dude. I like that. I didn't do it. I didn't do it because we're not doing shoots or promos today. So, 12th first appearance, right? Yeah. Saying hi for the algorithm. Thank you, Ed. Thank you. It's Brando. You know the rest of it. Just saying, what's good, fam? Just swinging by to the show. Some love. Working late. Man. Hey, dude. Sorry you're working so late, Brando. Dude, that sucks. Yo, Patrick. What's good? Still in Ohio, though. Ryan, good to see you. What's up, everyone? Eric. Toastin' Wednesday. If you haven't checked it out, My Bargains Comics did a Toastin' Tuesday. Pretty funny. Real talk. Marco was talking about. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, boy.
Get out of here. AOA doing good. That's good trash talking, though. Please talk about taxes, especially the new 6. Okay, actually, you know what? The 1099 threshold, we might actually get into some of that later because that is something we're going to talk about with selling eBay and how that changed and how kind of a lot of it has changed. Love him. Sold one for. Oh, you just sold one for 110 right now.
Wow,
good for you. It was $40 earlier this week, but I don't know. One for 110. Okay. That's a big drink. 4 straws, 1 cup. It was. Thank you very much. What happened on vacation stays on vacation. Good point. It's been 1 episode. Hey, Pete. It has been 1 episode, but Pete's here. Hey, Pete. Can't make the show, but can make the chat. Okay. Let's go. It's gonna Mojo. Good to see you. It's gonna be hard to run.
I want to know if Pete brought enough of those Maryland steamed crabs for the whole class.
He's supposed to buy. That was the deal. Was that if he skips the show so many times, he's supposed to bring it. All right, great show so far though. The House of Dragons premiere was good. Box office. Does anybody watch Dragon Ball Z?
Nope.
Nope.
Not my generation.
Yeah, man. I don't, dude. But there's people our age that loves this shit. I mean, I don't get it. It's whatever, but people love it. Good. I don't. Beast is whatever. Bullet Train's still there. Wow, it's the summer drugs. These kind of stink. But there you go, Pete. This is Pete. Should I say something more? Should I say something more about Dragon Ball Z? Oh, he is a Of course, PK's a Dragon Ball Z fan. Okay,
of course he would be.
He would be. Yeah.
I heard it's about a dragon, a ball, and.
I don't even know who Fajita is. Who's Fajita?
It's about. Is it some kid that runs around and just does like Hadouken and something all the time?
I don't know.
Okay,
bless you.
It's Titan Small. Best animated.
Oh, you said Hadouken. Okay.
Hey, yeah, Red Sonja movie's going, and they're going to have the kid from Umbrella Academy in it, so that's supposed to be something. I guess everybody looking forward to this. Is this what we wanted with our comic book movies? It's like the Marvel character in Dynamite form. Cool. I don't know where the other 2 ladies are from. I can kind of tell you, but I don't really care actually that much either. So, but I do like the guy that plays Kraus, so that's something.
Yep.
The disrespect. No, look, I Dragon Ball Z. I get it, man. If I could figure it out. Spider-Man. Oh my God. Have you guys heard about this? The Spider-Man No Way Home, the more stuff version trailer release. We kind of talked about this before, like with Snyder Cut. Is this what we're going to keep getting every fucking time? So they're going to re-release it, and it's going to have more stuff in it in like a longer version.
11 minutes.
11 minutes. Yeah, they're doing it in the theater, and then yeah.
Yeah, they're not getting my money.
No,
I like the movie, but
not even matinee.
Yeah.
I know. All right, good enough. Val Kilmer. This can't be real.
What?
No.
JJ's killing me because I think he's just slipping stuff in. Val Kilmer is Batman.
He's sick, isn't he? That's why he wasn't in Maverick.
He is anymore. He was. I think he's better now.
Or he was in Maverick, but he didn't talk, right? It was his son.
No, man, he could talk. Get out of here. Get out of here. I don't. Maybe it's his son. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know.
I'd rather see him as the Flash. But okay.
He can't speak. They're saying. So how is
he? Yeah, they used his son for Maverick.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Well, which I still haven't seen.
Dude, if you could figure out how to get paid off Sailor Moon, let me know. I've still, for years at cons, Double O knows this. Like Motor City Con for a long time, it had the biggest Sailor Moon girl fan. Like they take up a whole set. There's like literally a section of the con they leave empty for those young ladies to just like do whatever the fuck they do.
Yep.
They sit around. There's some chanting shit going on. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't figured it out. They don't got pockets, so I don't know what to sell them.
They don't.
Movie
They
Pass.
don't buy anything.
Yeah, Movie Pass.
Oh,
Yeah, they don't. They get treated like rock stars. They just sit there and start chanting and then like make noises and screeching and
take up space. That's all they do.
Yeah, we can only figure out how to just sell some stuff. Movie passes will return on September 5th. The plan starting at around $10 a month. You know, this reminds me. I just watched something where a guy was like, I was the dude that won the challenge where you could get Buffalo Wild Wings for a year or take $8,000. And I took the Buffalo Wild Wings for a year. And they asked him how many times he went to Buffalo Wild Wings and did like the all you can eat wild wing thing. He said never. So he pretty much waited. And this is what this seems like to me. You're paying $10 a month for movies, especially now. Is there even $10 worth of movies to go see?
Like to go to the movies? That's what this is?
Yeah, it's a movie pass. Like I can't remember how it works exactly.
But
go ahead, Lopez. Go ahead.
No, but is it for what do you call it? Premieres?
I don't think it is. I think it's like I think there's a certain period of time where you go and then you can watch like I think it's up to like 3 movies or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
my wife has this, I think.
Huh?
Yeah, I think they do it for AMC. Already does something like this.
Yeah. That's what this is. It's
my wife has that.
Is. Yeah, they stopped it for a while, but they're bringing it back. So whatever it is.
Okay.
Val is cool and all, but I can't see him running. Okay, we'll go with the comments after this. Next up, we got the Batman filmmaker Matt Reeves. He inked a deal for a ton of money with Warner Brothers to run that, and I'm not saying that's a bad idea. I mean, to be honest, I like the Batman movie for what it is. I like his stuff that he did with the Planet of the Apes movies.
Yeah,
the Cloverfield thing was okay. This is who you're gonna. I don't know, Steve. This is who DC. This is how your crowd is going to. This is their Favreau. Favreau.
I think it. No, I mean, I think it's just part of it, right? I mean, even though they'd love to have. I mean, and they say that they want to have a 10-year plan, just like Feige.
Mm-hmm.
I still think this is just a piece of the puzzle and not the overall puzzle.
It's not a bad one though. Like if you're gonna have people, I think that's but you know, I mean, I think this is the problem with Marvel. They got skittish, right? And they got into the whole let's let the bots cancel stuff, and they let Gunn get out of a thing, and they never should have. They should have kept an exclusivity contract with them,
right?
And they let him get away a little bit. So hopefully, hopefully this is the mainstay, and this is something. At least it's some form of stability, as long as they don't then pay him out and cancel his contract, and then say, we just gave him money to leave. But if they keep it around, like this one, Batgirl director can no longer access footage on the shelf. Yeah, if they cancel that stuff before it comes out, you cannot use any footage ever. Like they couldn't even, like everything was taken down, because if they make a single dollar off of it or a single part of it leaks out as a promo unit, so they could then you can't write off the sum. I mean, it's a shame they're only. I mean, for how little they're getting out of the write-off, it's just a shame that they decide to cancel this for that. I think, but oh well. Anybody else have an opinion on that? Besides, it seems like the stupidest thing in the world.
It is what it is.
That's it right there. That's all I can say.
The Ring of Power to screen first 2 episodes in theaters ahead of Prime Video release. Do you think this is going to be a thing? What, Darth? No?
No, I don't know. I would say no on the show. It looks horrible.
BK, real quickly, I want to address this. BK, no, they locked down. It's gone. They just erased it. They literally erased everything. There's nothing left. So, all right, go ahead. What were you saying about this, Darth? I'm sorry.
No, I said I will watch this, but I don't have any hope for it. It looks pretty bad for me.
I guess what my thing is, like, do you think it's cool with some of these epics if they're going to screen them first in like movie theaters and then after that shoot like I don't know.
I don't know if it's Star Wars, if it's maybe Marvel. I don't know. Didn't Game of Thrones do that?
Goodwill. He said the trailer was trash. Oof, that's not.
It was. I thought it was. That to be hard. I mean, my honest opinion. I thought it sucked. But it could be good. It could be good.
It's a way for them to get people back into theaters if they really need to, and if Amazon's trying to support theaters, that's the only thing that makes sense. But that doesn't really go along with what Amazon's trying to do, so I don't know how this all goes together.
Right.
I don't think it has to deal with what people were saying about Batgirl or Black. I don't think it has to deal with the reviews at all. I think it has to do with the dollars. They could get it's like $5 million extra dollars off of canceling Batgirl as a write-off, as a loss write-off, and that's why they did it. Even though it's very little money, it's $20 million overall. But
I mean,
anyways.
Amazon doesn't have much.
No, I'm talking about
anyway.
Batgirl. They're talking about Batgirl. Oh yeah, Amazon doesn't have anything. A community movie will definitely happen. That's what they're saying. Dan keeps promising it's going to happen, but there's no timeline. I'm skipping through this because I do not care unless there's a real timeline. Secret screening. What are we talking about? Secret screening. There better not be a secret screening, Pete. How are we going to get a secret screening on that? I don't believe it. All right, Pete's trying to do news on the phone. Tack anime. Without warning, HBO Max to slash dozens of. Oh, yeah. So HBO, another thing they did, Warner Brothers did, was they slashed a ton of animated series from its services without any warning. So that's really sweet.
So why would they do that? Like to get rid of residuals? They don't want to pay the actor. They don't want to pay people. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're just trying to get rid of HBO Max altogether. Yeah. They did cut the Tim's Cape Crusader animated series.
Yeah, I read that.
That's another. So there's a gap period where you can start cutting stuff and write it off as, not to get too technical on it, but you can write it off as a loss. The problem with Discovery is they took out too big of a loan. They don't have enough money. They have to start writing stuff off to make the profitability look better. If not, they're going to start defaulting on shit. So they're cutting out a lot of shit. You're just going to see these cuts keep happening as they're spending money on shit too. Like, I don't remember what the time period is. It should be coming to an end though, shouldn't it? Do you know anything about that, Steve?
I'm not sure. I have no idea.
It's not very long. Like they don't have a very long, but it's like a free period. There's like a free period where they can just pretty much rob Peter to pay Paul, and that's what they're doing at this point. So
that's what accountants and their black magic are for.
Yes, that is why we pay them a lot of money. Everything we know about the upcoming Garfield animated movie is that it's going to be completely animated, and we're not going to have weird human people running around with Garfield, and that Star-Lord is going to be Garfield. JJ has a weird sense of humor of what news is. But that's news. So, One Punch Man coming back for season 3. All I know of One Punch Man is all the memes of One Punch Man.
Yeah.
So,
never seen it,
but people love it. People love it. So I actually did watch One Punch Man. I watched one episode of One Punch Man. It was okay. He punched somebody.
One time.
I mean, he punched somebody, and the guy went flying, and then it was all right. It was pretty good. Snoop Dogg releases new children animated series on YouTube Kids called Doggy Land with Wags and Chow Chow and Yap Yap, and
I gotta see this.
It should be amazing. Wow, the chat is when Disney accounts find out Kenny's Markle Slush Fund. Okay, yeah, you guys are okay. Going up. Streaming news and TV. Thor: God, Love, and Thunder. Disney Plus release date, isn't it? The 8th of August. Because it's gonna be
Disney
for Disney
Day.
Plus
It's
days.
Disney Plus.
Yeah,
days.
Disney Plus days.
Yeah,
they're releasing it on there.
Right.
Could get some extended stuff. Disney Plus days returning September 8th with Pinocchio, God of Thunder. I actually have pulled up where it is the. I did pull up a lot of this stuff, but I pulled up this one specifically because we should have had this on the screen instead of what is here. And here it is. You get Cars on the Road, Dancing with Stars, The Pros. I think Dancing with Stars is still on. Most Memorable Moments. Epic Adventures with Greta Gregory. I don't know what that is. Frozen Sing Along, Frozen Sing Along 2. Growing Up, She-Hulk Episode 4. God and Thunder. Marvel Studios Assemble, Making of God and Thunder, or Love and Thunder. Kenobi, A Jedi's Return, which I think is like the background making up of Kenobi. Pinocchio, Remembering, Welcome to the Club, and more. Like, wow, that doesn't. Okay, well, that's an event, I guess. All right.
Sounds like a fun event.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like,
Pass.
I mean, I think a lot of this stuff, we've kind of been saying it. I think a lot of this stuff is like we're trying to catch up to, they dropped so much good stuff and they had to for a while there, just to get people's attention, and because we had a captivating office with everybody at home. But I think it's okay. Now we get bummer days. So that sucks. King Kong live action series is in early development for Disney Plus. I am thoroughly excited about this. I'm thoroughly excited about this. Not just because it's on Disney Plus, which I know here comes BK with how much are you paying you, Marco, but because I enjoy this genre. They're going to do more about Skull Island and his background, which I find fascinating. The background stories of not just Godzilla, but all of them, like Moth and Mothra and Godzilla and all of it. I enjoy it. So I think this is cool, man. I'm excited. The comics still aren't selling or shit, but that's fine. Not everything has to do with comic selling. So, all right. Does anybody else like these?
Yeah.
I watched
the whole
them
somewhat.
together, but yeah.
I think they're fun. I just love them. It's like that Planet of the Apes. I like some of
I like the Brie Larson one.
Yeah, it's not
Skull
Monster
Island?
Universe.
Brie Larson?
No, Monster Universe is Monster Universe is like the what's their names? The Universal Monsters. Yeah. It's the I'm forgetting the name of these now. I sound like an idiot. It starts with a G. Anyways.
BK. I love BK, dude.
Yep, there it goes. Corporate sellout. You got me right. Amazon Prime signs deal with DirecTV to air for Disney. So this is funny. They signed a deal with Amazon Prime with DirecTV to air Thursday night football games in bars and restaurants. All the sports stuff that's changing around is crazy at this point. We were looking at our cable bill. It's $265 a month. Thinking, shit, man, we really don't watch that much TV.
Mm-hmm.
And we pay all over it. That doesn't include any of our streaming stuff. And then we were like, well, shit, we can't get rid of the Big Ten network because we're alumni from schools from the Big Ten, because that's where we watch a lot of our sports. We watch a lot of college sports. And then we can't get rid of, like, for Detroit to watch our crappy ass Tigers. They play on Bally Sports, which is Fox 1. That's a different thing. And then we got the Lions, watch them lose a couple games. It's now another thing. So, like, we don't even know what to do anymore with cable. Something's got to give here, though, because it's getting too expensive.
It is. I got the AT&T verse or whatever it's called.
Like 16 now. Yeah.
It's pretty economical. DirecTV Stream, I think it is. Yeah. DirecTV Stream.
Thank you for the Kenji. Thank you for the Kenji. Really? BK, you haven't been around long enough. I think actually one of the first tax shows had the Kenju on it. Actually, as a matter of fact, we did a little Kenju special. That's the group that talked about it. So yeah, I mean, just too much for sports. I don't know. Hey, sports.
Well, I'm excited for this.
Huh?
I want to see this. I'm excited for this.
Did you what? Did you see this? You saw this preview clip, right?
The trailer to this? Yeah, it looks good to me.
It looks like old ass fucking Limpy Stevens, Sylvester Stallone, grumpily crumbling around a fucking street and just going, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you." I'll tell you something, guys. Sometimes you get knocked down, but sometimes you gotta help people out.
Get him, BK. Get him, BK.
Yo, Adrian.
Yeah, so and then you probably shouldn't stab me in the back, and I don't want to be a hero, but you gotta do some things, Get the fuck out of here. I mean, I'm gonna watch it. Don't give me time out. Let's not even fucking act like I'm not gonna love watching this horse shit, but like it's a big pile of shit. So
it looks good. I don't know.
I know. Sorry, I still got some stuff from the COVID-19 thing. I mean, I'm boosted and stuff, but like whatever. So my voice is going. I can't do the whole like. I mean, he literally goes at one point, I just don't want to, I just don't want to be a hero no more, And I'm like, holy shit, dude, come on, this is not what we're doing. Speaking about shit we're not doing, Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon Part 2 reportedly confirmed by Netflix, and that's because fucking Zack Snyder can't just do a fucking 2-hour movie anymore. So now apparently Rebel Moon, for those people that don't know, is supposed to be his Star Wars-esque sci-fi planet opera movie, because he was rejected for doing a Star Wars movie. He decided to do something.
But it's not out yet. Is that right?
No, it's not even out yet. No, it's already so long they had to split it into 2 fucking parts. Supposedly.
He sucks, dude. His best movie was a Dawn of the Dead remake. That's the only movie I like.
They can confirm this, but they're not going to confirm a second season of Sandman. What's wrong with Netflix?
They're not even confirming this. They're just saying that his shit's too long. So then the rumor is that he's already.
They're just splitting the movie that they already made.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which I don't even know if they're doing. I mean, who knows?
Allegedly.
Yeah,
I'll watch it though.
No, you sound like Stallone from the. That's funny. Thank you much. Netflix greenlight Parasite. The Gray. Okay, so this is an anime thing, right? And I
If
think
you say so, yeah,
it is. It is. This is going to be a hit. This is going to be a fucking massive fucking hit.
And why?
Because it is. Because it's got everything working for it. It like they get taken over by parasites. Then the people fight fucking back. You know what I mean? It's got that fucking gore of like what's that fish game or whatever the fuck shit is?
Squid
you know
Game?
what I'm talking about? Huh?
Squid Game?
You're gonna have it's all that shit mixed together with fucking like that fucking biological end of the world bullshit, the apocalyptic shit. It's a home run. This is a home run. Like hands down. So
okay.
Good luck. It's gonna be good.
We'll see.
Okay, we will. All right, Tax Show Comics. Boom Studios revealed the first. Does anybody? I mean, Power Ranger people care about this. Power Ranger Unlimited, the Death Ranger. You gotta get to look at that. So
can't stand Power Rangers.
Yeah. Power Rangers are hard sell.
Disgusting.
BK,
I've had a couple long boxes behind me to prove it.
BK, I said I know nothing about. I said I know nothing about Dragon Ball Z, so I'm not going to speak on it. But it's very popular. One Punch Man. I said I love the memes, and I watched one of the shows. It was pretty good. So what? I mean, I can only say that I like stuff if I actually seen it. If I don't see it, what do you want me to just make shit up?
I did like the Power Rangers movie. Guilty pleasure. I did enjoy that.
What was that?
Just throwing that out there.
Cool. Carnage new look makes the Symbiote more terrifying. No, it doesn't. There's like 80,000 new Carnage looks. They all look stupid as shit. He just like he
they all look like Carnage.
Yeah, it's like Carnage on a hound, Carnage on Nightcrawler, Carnage on a devil. Like what the fuck?
I think there was a Carnage shark as well at one point.
Right. I mean, this shit is like I don't know.
I mean, now that they had Carnage in a movie and it seems like one and done, does anyone really care about Carnage? I mean,
I never did.
Right.
Yeah, the dog Carnage. I mean, come on, dude. Leftover, what's good? All right. My Little Pony, 10 years of My Little Pony. Friendship is Magic with the anniversary issue of My Women adaptation. What are they doing? But I'm getting it for my daughter, so they must be doing something right because I think it went from the brony stage back to like girls buying this book, little girls buying this book, which is nice. Not because of that, but just because it's in a book that they can read and they enjoy. So look for that, I guess. I don't know. Plus they do sweet crossovers with like Transformers and stuff. Okay. This one's great. Black Adam #1 wins second printing from DC Comics, the new Dwayne Johnson covers. So there was like 4 or 5 Black Adam #1 covers, and that wasn't enough. Now they're doing a Rock Johnson, which looks badass, dude. I'm sorry. I fucking don't like second printings. I don't like variants, and I think this is the shit. I'll probably try to buy one.
I think it's going to be a 1 in 25 foil to go with that as well.
Yeah. Yep, probably. No, you don't like The Rock? Are you hating?
No. I love The Rock, but I don't do DC that much. Just Catwoman. Yeah, and the horror stuff, the Black Label stuff, refrigerator for the head.
I just don't understand why this wasn't the first cover, anyways. If this was a 1 in 100 for them, they would have. I mean, not that they
crushed it. Yeah.
They would have crushed it. Yeah, they would have crushed it.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need second printings. We just need to do first printings right.
No, I'm a fan of second printings. I am.
Okay. Well, you're wrong. So the problem with that is if
they did
BK get them. If they did first printings right, we would have no it's not a second. We would have no need for a reprint if they did the first printing right. It's all we
Just a money grab.
Yeah, Spider-Verse Heroes, Spider-Man 2099, and how am I gonna screw this?
Aranya.
Araña.
star in new Marvel novel. That is true statement. And also, there's some rumor that Aranya
Araña.
might actually be in the Madam Web. That's for you, Pete. The Madam Web movie. So hopefully that's a thing. But we'll see.
Seems like a kind of like a DC move. Like, DC's been doing a lot of these like young adult type novels for the last couple years. So,
the weird thing is I've seen them sell though, right? Like as much as criticism as they got, like wasn't like one Fat Star Girl or something like that.
Yeah. I know what
They're calling it. They're calling it Fat Star Girl, and literally I was like, "What? Huh?" And so I went to the comic book store, and it might have just been a one of those random days, but I'm looking over and literally there's a young lady in front of me buying that fucking book. I'm like, okay, so call it whatever the fuck you want. You're wrong. You've already been wrong because somebody bought the book. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, this is never going to sell because there's a big they're like, who wants to buy Fat Star Girl or whatever they called it?
I think it was Starfire, but
okay, whoever, whatever.
And then did the girl ask you what you're doing with the clipboard or?
I did. No, I didn't. I kept my 5 feet. Look, I got good eyes and good ears, bro. I didn't clipboard. I didn't feel that was appropriate. So we're getting Rambo. She's getting her first series in December, and she's supposed to be extremely super powered. First solo series, mind you. Is this necessary?
Well, the marketing, right? The Marvels is coming out.
Fair.
This is really going to disappoint the people that spec'd on Mighty Avengers #1, because if this is pointing to her being Photon in the movie rather than Spectrum,
it is Photon. She's going to be Photon now,
right? So,
yeah, it's a 5-part mini. I'll probably pick it up in the dollar bin.
They do this around every movie, right?
Yep.
I mean,
this is the dollar bin digger. We'll see. This is probably gonna go third print because people are gonna it's gonna be like another 80K print run thing that people just for some reason are gonna have an excuse to buy, so they'll buy it.
I feel like it's been a while since we've had a third print from Marvel.
Oh, it has.
Oh, it has been a while.
Yeah,
we just cursed it. It's coming.
Yeah.
All right.
And she's in Thunderbolts, right? Isn't she in the new Thunderbolts?
Did it?
What was that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Limitless power is a crappy trope. Yeah, that is. It is. That's the unfortunate part. I mean, I hope they have some dude writing this too, don't they? Like, you just wish that they would do something right sometimes at Marvel, but they don't. All right. Oh, there's one thing that wasn't put on here though. So, this is a question I have. Have we had enough of Patton Oswalt? Like, when is fandom being a fan and then being able to create fandom stuff like a little bit too much? I know people have brought it up before with Kevin Smith, but if you guys haven't read, Patton Oswalt had a Marvel comic that came out this week. I was not allowed to go to the store, but luckily somebody dropped me off some of the books, and I actually read that thing. And it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. But like, he was the Crow in what's that?
Max the Raven.
Yeah, he was Max the Raven. He did the MODOK thing. He did whatever, and now he's writing comic books about like C-list, C tier. He literally says C tier. We used to have that on the show when we started TAC. We started a segment called C tier, which was like C tier characters, a C tier list characters or whatever. Like, so that's what he's describing the book as, and it's like literally some C tier villain supposedly who is a bartender. It was not good. I believe Kevin Smith is a treasure. I do agree, AOA. But I'm just wondering, is there a point where like we don't give people passes just because they're fans anymore? Like, Patton Oswalt gave one of the best filibuster speeches ever about Star Wars. Like, it was hilarious and it was funny. That's off the cuffs, but it sure does feel like he's been living off that for a very fucking long time at this point. And at what point do we not just be rude about it, but say thank you for all your service? Let's move along. At this point, anybody else feeling that? No. Nobody else read that comic then. Okay, cool. Sweet.
Yeah, I didn't read the comic.
Yeah, I mean, it just says whatever. All right.
Yeah, no, sorry.
Yeah. That's all right. Best park. It was the best Park and Recs episode. Yeah, Rogan is too. Yeah. Seth Rogen's kind of. We keep giving these people passes. Like, I get it, but man, dude, like, ugh, I don't know. All right, so let's talk about why we really came here. Let's talk about because I really don't have anything else. I couldn't put anything together. I didn't have the time this week to do it. Let's talk about kind of our stuff. We'll let Steve go first because we know Steve has an early bedtime, but kind of like how we got into comics. Because like there's a lot of people. Let me ask you this statement. I don't watch a lot of YouTube, but I've obviously had a lot of experience on YouTube. I've been doing it for I think 3 years now. I've been in a lot of different spaces with a lot of different groups, building up a lot of groups at one point, especially behind the scenes. And I always found it interesting how people would talk about selling, and then like as soon as the camera goes off, you're like, oh man, you don't sell. Like you've never sold comics before. Like what are you talking about? That's not how any of that works. And then like just like talk to other people and go like, okay, cool, yeah. And have you guys ever had that feeling before where you're like watching something or heard something and you're just like, no, that's not how it works. So I kind of got you guys together and I know everybody has a different point of view, and I'm not saying that because we all have different points of view on how we do it. I'm just saying in general, like that's not a thing. Like what you're saying is not a thing, and I think that causes issues with such things, and we might talk about if we've experienced gatekeeping and stuff like that before. But kind of like if you could give overviews of how long you guys have been doing it and what you guys have kind of got into. Steve, if you could give us some of that first off, I would appreciate that maybe.
Yeah. Well, I incorporated my bargain comics in January 2019, but I was selling, years before that. And yeah, I mean, it was a revelation to me, once I started getting involved in YouTube and everything, that, a lot of the people that I was on with, they didn't, like you said, they don't sell comics. And then especially when I was at a Comic-Con with a lot of them, and I'd say the vast majority of them, like, I never saw him digging. It's like it was just kind of weird, Yeah,
that's the biggest lie. Yeah, the digging.
But I think I got into it like a lot of people. It's like I just wanted to self-fund my purchases, and then, but after a while, it just became like the thrill of the hunt, right? And that's sort of what I love to do. I mean, you ask me to research anything, and I'll go, research it to death and find the answer. So there's just something to be said for finding hidden treasure, whether it's physical or whether it's digital. And that's the fun part of it.
That's an interesting question. We might get into why he decided to incorporate instead of doing a LLC, and right. There's a reason why LLC didn't incorporate. There's definitely reasons why we did that. That's a little bit getting stuck in the mud, but maybe we'll leave that for a little bit later in the episode if you feel like doing it. And then like, how have you seen it change? Like, because it's changed a lot in the last, not even 10 years. Like I'm talking like from 2014 to now. So almost 10 years, but it has changed a lot from then too. Cause you said you incorporated in 2019 and then now have you seen a lot of switch before that? Or like, was it just cause you changed your business model or?
No, I mean, I think what's changed a lot, because, I was there I think a lot of us, can trace our origins back to the G plus days, the Google plus days.
Mm-hmm.
And
you can ask people in this chat; they've seen me.
Right, and then the original the original Unpressable Defects podcast, and that's all there was, right? And now there's a lot of comic YouTubers. Matter of fact, I met a guy at a dollar sale over the weekend, and he has like 10,000 followers, Comic Keys, something. Real nice guy. I mean, there's just so many YouTubers, you can't keep track of it. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, and you didn't have Instagram, right? I mean, when Google Plus was shutting down, everyone was like, "Where do we go?"
Yeah, they try to do the MeWe groups and they try to do the
right,
Facebook thing
yeah.
because you got so for a lot of us, this I don't know, Dub, if you were in on it too, but like a lot of us, we started in the CGC boards and we'd have like multiple names that weren't like this still isn't my name, like you know what I mean? Like we used to have multiple names and then you go into boards and some people you troll a little bit, but you would do it to try to find out stuff like too, because that's where for me, that's where a lot of the information was coming down. I didn't even know like up into 2014, I didn't even know that there was like G plus groups start. I mean, because the CGC board started to flip out. Like Sleepy, you know, they kind of were like, yo, dude. And then I partnered up with somebody in 2014 and he was like, no, you got to get here. Let me get you everywhere you got to go. And I was like, but I'd really messing around with Silver Age and shit. And he's like, even with that, and I was having trouble. So then they were starting those Facebook groups. Remember those buy trade sale ones, but they were good.
Oh, yeah.
Like
I did that.
Yeah, I would do. It was like because of friends and family with, because PayPal was doing the friends and family thing, but then they were starting to do the like we're gonna catch you. So you would sell one, not friends and family, just to make sure the person wasn't trying to screw you. And then this is what I would do. Then I'd start group selling. So then I'd be like, okay, I got this part of a run, or I got these 3 books, because I'd buy in collections, and then like I'll put them in and I'll package it for you. But then you can do friends and family after the first couple of transactions and stuff like that, because we take it off a thing like that, and it worked out better. And then I got a partner, and we formed D&D, and we both had eBay accounts already, and then we formed a third one, and that was nice because of the $10,000 threshold. So we got 3 $10,000 thresholds. For those people that don't know, eBay used to let you have up to $10,000 in sales and X amount of trade. The transactions were stupid how big they were. Like I can't, how much was it? It was a ton. I can't remember what it was, but it was a ton. And you could go up to the threshold and stop. And then you could, if you had more than one. But then when they decided to do the $600 thing slightly before that, this is the way it changed too. This was what, 2018 or 19? It was going into 19, I think, wasn't it? When they did it, when they did the bank account thing.
Yeah.
So like your credit,
that was sort of, you know,
I know you didn't do it, but it's because that's not how you did it. Like since we already had ours, you know what I mean? Like you only had one account, but with us, we had 3 accounts. So like, and we had them naturally. So we had 2 accounts and then a share account. So like, but yeah, then well, you couldn't do it through a credit union, and then we lost a lot of our accounts. We lost all of our accounts except for one. So, but whatever, that's a different story, because you couldn't do it through you had to have it through like a one of their approved banks. And I had one of mine set up through the credit union. We had another account set up through like a joint LLC, well, not a LLC checking account through a private institution. And that didn't fly anymore. And then after that, they announced the $600 threshold thing. And we're like, who the shit cares about $600? You already screwed us on the other stuff. I guess that's what somebody asked about. Like, do you care about the $600? Like, to be honest, no, that didn't affect, I don't think that affected, Lopez can say it, but it didn't affect me. It definitely didn't affect Steve.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you can tell like sort of the pros from the people that really aren't, you know, in it seriously is, I mean, if you're stressing over, you know, a $600 limit, you know, or whatever. I mean, you can just spend so much time hand wringing over trying to get around rules, regulations, taxes, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's just easiest to just
pay them,
spend your time just running a business properly.
Go ahead, Darth.
What's the $600 limit? That's something new on eBay. I saw Joe mention that.
You get the it gets reported to the IRS.
Yeah, you get 1099 if you sell over $600.
So if you sell over $600.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
That's this year. That started.
Did that just happen? Because
yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot of people are about to get hit with that.
Okay.
A lot of people are about to get
hit.
So next January, if you sold more than $600, you're going to get a 1099 from eBay, from PayPal, from anywhere else that you sell online. That you're going to get that 1099 sales of how much you sold. So make sure you have your records and your spreadsheets about how much you paid for something and how much you sold it for, and so your accountant can help you get all that figured out.
And find a good accountant for that. Like
Mhm.
both me and Steve have got private accountants. Like,
Shit.
and it
Right.
doesn't cost as much. It doesn't cost as much as you
Yeah.
think it does.
My
I think for my
no, my
personal
mom's a retired CPA, so I'm good.
Yeah, I know,
Right.
but like
Right.
I think. Well, no, you got to get.
Well, and I also have a separate bookkeeper too, because, you know, I mean, I want to spend time, you know, doing things that are in my core competency and that I also enjoy. And, you know, downloading transactions and QuickBooks and, you know, reconciling things, it's just not worth it. I'd rather just pay someone else to do it and do, you know, checks with me, you know, when they need to, going like, you know, was this, you know, you know, why do you charge at a 7-Eleven? And I'll be
Right.
like, well, I got hungry on the way back from the Comic-Con, so, you know.
Yeah, so we're not telling you. We're telling you what we do. We're not saying that it's 100% accurate. Or let me preface everything. We're not going to give you like real numbers. If you hear us give you numbers, assume they're fake. Just assume they're fake. That goes for the people watching this. And also, too, we're not giving you any advice. We're not giving anybody any tax advice or anything else. We're just telling you what we do. And for me, it's a little different. I'm sloppy with it. I do generalize. So I have a whole list of shit. And I go, here you go, tax guy. Here you go. This is what this is. This is what this is. Here's my paperwork. I'll write you a check I write my checks for roughly around, I think it's $500 a year to take care of all my business and personal stuff. And that's it. They take care of everything. When I need my LLC filings, they take care of that. When I need my business accounts transferred over, they just send me a bill for an extra like $100 here, whatever it is. Just I make sure that I make sure I get the receipts of what I'm paying them to do. And that's as cheap as it is. But on that type of level, like you got to think like it's between my businesses, my personal income, you know, we're talking in the couple six figures here. You know, we're talking like it's so for me when it's like, you know, you're talking 300, 400,000, like it's only costing me $500 and change to get all that done. Like that's how cheap it is. Think about that. So whatever you're making off your end, and that's pretty accurate. I'm not going to tell you exactly how much I pull in a year, but like between my business and my comic business and my personal stuff, that's where we go. That's only costing $536. I think was my last write out to Penn. Like,
right.
They took care of me. Like they tell me what to write my check for. I write my quarterly checks. I send it out to the IRS. I haven't been audited since I was like 19 now. Like, Don't get audited. Don't get audited.
But here's another. Now there are advantages to doing things the right way. And I know. Okay, so we're trying to avoid the right way. But anyway, what works for me? How about that? What works for me? But one of the advantages of you know, being a
I mean, this is the sucky part about doing this.
No, but here's one of the great advantages that will blow people's minds. Okay, is that, you know, when you're a business that's, you know, established with the state, with the federal government, when you're dealing with vendors, they will ask you for a resale certificate, and what that means is you don't have to pay sales tax on those purchases. So, for example, you know, Whatnot recently, a couple months ago, they said, you know, if you are a business, send us your resale certificate, and then, you know, you won't be charged sales tax on your purchases. Well, you know, I did that faster than anything, right? So, you know, like when I'm bidding on something as a buyer on Whatnot, I mean, I have an advantage over the other buyers because I'm doing the math in my head and I'm going, I'm not paying sales tax on this. That's great, and it's legal. It's legal for businesses. If you're buying it to resell it, you don't pay sales tax.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it. You would be surprised at how many people have behind, like, I mean, in the streets. Dove knows this too. Like people will always this is the weirdest part. It's like weird. People will whisper to you like, yo, so what are you gonna like? Steve, you probably had this before. So what's up? Hey man, can I ask you? People that don't like you flat out in the industry, like guys that do sell that don't like you will come up to you and talk to you and take you to the side at one point and be like, yo, what am I gonna do? Like, how do you? And I never tell them who I go through because you ain't using my tax guy. Like, get your bum ass out here. I know you don't like me, but I also don't want to see nobody. I mean, I don't. I've been audited twice before when I was really young, so I know what happens when that happens and how much it costs to like hire the people so that you do not go to jail and don't have to pay a lot of money, and it's not fun. So I do try to give them a little bit of advice. If they take it, they take it. If they don't, they don't, and that's it. But I think we can move on from. Dub, are you the same thing? You obviously you do because you're keeping your spreadsheets too. Like
Right, exactly. And it's all my stuff. I don't do tons of stuff online. I do a little bit here and there. Like I use like Shortbox and I used apps and like stuff like that. But I like do mostly. I do a lot of shows, and I've been doing more shows like this past year, couple years, and we have to keep track of everything between my stuff and my wife's stuff. We have to keep like kind of two separate lists of what we're selling because she's got her own thing going on too, and she files all of her stuff separately, and we like I make her. I have to keep all of her records as well with her expenses and stuff because she's like, okay, I bought this. Can I buy how much? What's my budget? She's like, ask me what her budget is to buy her stuff, but it works for her. I made this much money. How much can I spend? So we gave her like a percentage, like of what she actually can spend and what she should do, and that's what she does, and it makes so much sense for both of us. But we have to do it. We got to keep track of everything, and you have to write it down, and you have to make sure that you know what you bought, what you paid for that book, and what it is. So that when you turn it in, then it's otherwise you're scrambling at the end of the year, and then you're just screwing yourself over.
So a caveat for that I will add is
Yeah.
like, you don't. I'm not gonna tell you what you don't have to do. I have never itemized to the T the expenses. I have always generalized. For those people that don't know, it's like if I bought one book for 10 cents or whatever, okay. But if I bought 20 books for $1 at, let's just say at somebody's booth, and then I went to somebody else's booth, there's guys who will write you receipts for $60 for the things, and then you can just generally comic books $60, Silver Age comic books $600, $10,000, whatever you have to do. It's easier when you got on the credit cards, but like if you I don't do that a lot. I use cash a lot, so it's the easy way to go. But Lopez, this brings up a good point because we've had this conversation before early on when you were asking. I was always like, dude, you have to go green. And what I mean by go green is not be be healthy. By the way, hey, Wayseeker, what's going on? But you have to get into the green as quickly as possible, no matter what you're doing. And you have to stay there. Do not go once you are in the green, do not go red. And I know that's a hard thing to do, especially for somebody like you, Darth. We've talked about this for over a year. Yeah. And if you could give us some insight into like that and how that kind of works.
Yeah, I'm the guy that's trying to get his hobby to support itself and still struggling with that. So I hunt a lot. Well, not recently, but I hunt a lot. So when I dig, I get into the problem, overspending. And so then, I come home and I go through everything I got. And sometimes I don't make my money back. Sometimes, I spend, let's say, just $120. Sometimes I'm lucky if I get half of that back. So then, we fast forward the next week and I go hunting again. That'll happen again. See, I'm already in the red there. And a lot of times when I hunt, there's a lot of stuff that I want, fillers for whatever I want, Punishers, whatever titles I want. So then I'm digging for myself, and then I'm digging to try to sell to get my money back. Sometimes I score, sometimes I hit it big, sometimes I don't. So I've kind of scaled back on that now, and I kind of separate my money.
Yeah.
So
but I think it's kind of like how the
amount that I have just for digging.
Hmm?
No, go ahead. Well, yeah. So I that's what I try to do now, but it took me 2 years to have the discipline to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I started selling my books because the pandemic, because I got laid off. And I had amassed a collection from 2015 to then because I was out of the hobby for almost 30 years. So then, my wife's like, dude, maybe you want to sell some comics. So then I did. And then, I liked it and I was selling and selling and selling. then I started hunting and hunting and hunting, and I got lucky a lot. That was during pandemic, a lot of Star Wars books. But even till right now, it's like when I dig and I find a $30 book, okay, I could sell it for $30, but I paid $5 for it. So if I sell it for $30, I'm not really getting $30 after fees on eBay and shipping, right? So after fees, you're looking at 20 something bucks. So if I spend $100, $125 on digging, and I sell 2 books for $25, see, do the math there. I'm kind of in a wreck there. I'm not, unless I find a book that I could sell for $100 after taxes, then I feel like I'm really winning. So so that's what I struggle with. I hunt a lot, I sell a lot, but then I think I'm just Peter Paul, right? I'm Peter Pan Paul. So I'll sell over. This last week I had a good week, 235 bucks I think I made after fees. I probably spent on digging or on auctions at my LCS probably half of that. So so I made some money, but that doesn't happen a lot, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I say I'm the little guy, I'm the seller. So I'm not on the level that maybe you guys may be, but so that's how it is for me. So and I overspend on variants.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's tough.
I think that's a little bit different. But real quickly to cut you off, the one point that I wanted to be making is like people were making fun of us saying nerds because we were like, hey, well, we separate this in our accounts and all, but like I think that kind of helped you out was when I was explaining to you.
Yeah, you have
to separate. You're gonna do it no matter what, because you have to make sure you're in the green at all times. Because if you're not in the green, and I remember you calling me the first day and going, Marco, bro, I listened. I'm in the green. I'm good. Da 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 da. And then I remember 3 months later, you called me and go, "Yo, I fucked up." And the first thing I said is get back.
Because my hobby, what I read, what I like to read, is expensive. I'll buy every variant that's X-Men, all new Wolverine, and that's another thing. So what I do when I'm in a green, I tell myself, okay, I'm in a green now. So now I want to go get this all new Wolverine variant. Now I want this X-Men variant. Now I want this 9.8 or this 9.6, or now I want new stats. So all that money that I accumulated off of profit goes into my hobby. And that's, what I mean? That's where I'm teetering. And I've told you, to me, if you're not financially secure, you could kind of run into the problems that I was. But now I'm disciplined. Now I separate my money. So I have $160 to go digging whenever, and I budget that. So I'll hit 2-3 stores, a few half price books, and I'll limit myself. And it's tough when you dig, because I don't think, again, I was out of the hobby for almost 30 years, and I'll say this, and I'm not embarrassed to say this. So when I came back in, I'm a guy who learned from that app. I'm a guy who learned from watching some of you guys, right? In the good way. I had a crash course in store exclusives. That's why I do not, under no circumstance, buy store exclusives, because you'll never get your money back. That's a loss off the top, unless it's for you, unless you like it. That store exclusive, you buy it, you want to keep it, awesome, right? So that's what I mean. I just separate my money. I stay disciplined. I'll hit 4 stores. I got 100, and I withdraw it cash, 130 bucks or 140 bucks, right? And I go digging. I hit 2 stores, and if now I'm a little bit better and I'm more patient, because I've learned the hobby a little bit better. Now I know, oh shit, Sonic's sell, or some Call of Duty zombie sell.
Yeah, we're all constantly, getting more experience and becoming more disciplined. I think that's part of the journey. If you're not learning, you're not living, and
right.
And I mean, still, I mean, and especially in the market that we've had in the past 2 years,
it's changed drastically.
Easy, even and I consider myself pretty disciplined, but I've gotten that discipline by making mistakes and by learning from experience. And I know, Marco, you asked me, before the show, and so even during this this 2-year period of just crazy prices and for collectibles and everything. I mean, even I got caught up in it. So one of the things I did, I started hearing about these MetaZoo cards, right? MetaZoo. It's bigger than Pokemon and MetaZoo, and one of the online platforms, gave me an opportunity to buy cases of MetaZoo. So what did I do? I became undisciplined, and I was like, okay, this thing is so hot. I don't even need to know anything really about it. It's, because just everything's going up. And, I threw $6,000 at it, and, in the long run, I'll probably break even. I'll probably lose a little bit of money. There's still, some X factors that could happen, which is, you get a celebrity endorsement, right. It goes viral again, or it gets acquired by, another company or something like that. But as it stands, that was probably my biggest mistake this year was, and hopefully it remains the biggest mistake for the business, this year. And luckily it really, to put it in perspective, it doesn't hurt that much, but still it never feels good to make mistakes, right?
No, yeah. I mean, I think that's the one thing. I mean, that's the one thing, and I'm gonna let Wayseeker get in here in a little bit, but that's the one thing, like, we can talk about a little. I can talk about a little afterwards too. Like, luckily, I think the pandemic saved me from some mistakes, because as the people who talk to me behind the scenes, or the people that they know that I'm very conservative. Like, I buy collections, but if it goes above where I'm just like, yo, man, I'm never gonna have to buy space. I don't want to buy space. I'm not paying for somebody to store my shit. If it don't fit in 4,000 square feet, it ain't fitting, bro. And number two, if it's above what I think I can get back within the next week and a half, I'm not buying it. So, but I've made some dumbass mistakes. I mean, well, yeah, I made some, but like, I think that saved it. Like, I bought Star Wars and a G.I. Joe lot for, at the time, seemed like a lot of fucking money. And then all of a sudden the pandemic hit a year and a half later, and I wasn't a dummy anymore. I mean, sometimes that stuff happens, like it does. But there's other times where you're looking at a book, or you're looking at a series, and you're going, shit, yeah, dude, you fall for it. You fall for the hype. You fall for, like, whatever the fuck the hype is. It's out of your lane. One of the things, just to bring Wayseeker in, Wayseeker hit me up and asked me a question, and he said, well, what is there any advice or what? I said, get a niche, stay with it, try to figure it out, and then move on from there. And I don't know, Wayseeker, if that kind of works for you or whatever, or what your opinion is on that, and how, and what your experience so far in selling's been. But if you could give us a little insight too, I would appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, I just started collecting in December, right? I mean, I've always been a Star Wars guy. That's kind of my thing. I've always read books and played video games and card games and competed in card games, things like that. High Republic drew me in, and I made mistakes. First couple months I bought too many books on Whatnot for too high prices, not knowing what I was doing, but that was fine. Part of learning. I mean, for me, I have a lot of books I want, and I'm not going to buy them unless I sell books that can pay for them. So money that I make goes into the books that I want. And if a book passes by and I don't have the money and it's a good deal, it goes away. I don't have a problem not buying a book that's a good deal, knowing that it's going to be another good deal around the corner. For me,
except for when you sell at a 15, and then fucking people love comics, and then you'll never fucking see it again. So
yeah,
but yeah, besides that, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
And I mean, it's not a big deal. Like, if things go by, I let them go by. I take the deals. I mean, personally, I never try to buy anything that is that I don't think is 60% fair market value. If it's more than 60% fair market value, I'm not buying it. That's kind of my limit. So
that's discipline, though, man. You learn that. That's
that's where I'm at, right?
Yeah.
I let it go.
And that's where you. And I think it is some of the mistakes.
If the market goes down, I could probably still get out at even or at a small loss, and if it goes up, it goes up, and that's okay. Like, That's kind of my number. So if it, whatnot, whatever, if I don't really do whatnot that much anymore, when they put taxes in the raised shipping, that 60% mark made it really difficult, and it's fine. So I move on, but that's just where I am. And so, some weeks, some months are better than others. I've noticed that's okay. I just buy less stuff if it's a bad month, and I move on. But I hear a lot of people talking like, it's a good time to buy, and I'm just not sure that's true. Like, I think that's a lot of these influencers want to say, prices are down, it's going to pop back up.
No,
I don't think we can know that. It might go back up, it might not.
No,
I don't think you should judge where the future is going based off of what's happening now.
So there's different perspectives for that. I think depending on where your lane is, right? Like, and I hate to say it like that because it sounds like, so I have had gatekeeper stuff like this, but I hated when people were talking like all you gatekeepers, because like they don't even know what it was. Like the comic book industry when I was getting to it was a fucking fraternity, and it was like they would try to drag you through it. That's a lot different than people like Mari Bargain Comic, like Steve was talking before, when they're trying to set up a con, and they're like, we can't get here because we don't know the fucking the promoters. Well, yeah, because there's like 6 promoters. If you don't know them, you're not going to get into their fucking con, asshole. You can't just walk up and, yeah, I got some comics to sell, motherfucker. I want to be at the biggest con in the state. Like, that doesn't work that way. But they used to put us through some stuff. Like, they would put us through shit. You get like, show up and your table is supposed to be a 10-foot table, and you get stuck on a wall in a 6-foot table with no lights above you and shit like that. Like, that shit's for real. That used to happen. And that's kind of shitty, dude. That is kind of shitty. But like, for some of us, like our lanes, it's not like this isn't going to affect us. We've been through these before. I mean, 2018, I don't know what you guys were thinking, but 2018, we had already scaled back our buying habits. We already reduced it. We actually needed larger profits on long boxes and short boxes. At the time, we went from paying 25 a short down to 20, or 25 a long down to 20. We really weren't buying shorts unless it was like a whole thing. And we had to have, you had to have something in there that we knew we could turn over. If we're buying a collection, let's say I'm buying an $8,000 collection, I had to get at least $3,000 within the next 2 weeks out of that collection. And I need not at top dollar value of the market. It had to be under market price for me to do it. And that's what we were buying. That was it. And then 2019 hit, and then you couldn't fucking buy shit anymore. So, and that's the kind of the changes. So when you saw this, it was like, there was a huge bunch of stuff. And a lot of people were saying, I think that's where the thing came in. Like, you really aren't selling. Like, there's a lot of people that got a lot of boxes at home, and then they start buying storage places, and they're telling you how they're killing the game. And you're like, dude, you ain't seen red. You ain't seen green, like, ever.
Right.
Like, I don't eat salads, but I see a hell of a lot of fucking green, bro.
I just got the green last week, and I feel good.
There it is.
Yeah, and I like what Wayseeker said about, I think you kind of said it was don't go chasing books. Resist FOMO, and I think I'll pat myself on the back. I'm really good about not chasing FOMO. Like, if it's passed me by, then it's passed me by, because especially in the market that we've had the past 2 years, it's been so the spikes have been really short, and now they've gotten even shorter if they even spike at all. Well,
I guess it's a problem. Like, when these books come up and people are like, well, you're selling it for double cover online, like, that's not like, you know what I mean? But like, even at 50 copies of a 80,000 print run, selling 50 copies at averaging $4 or $3 in profit, like, that's only 50. That means 50 guys. You didn't sell, one person didn't sell all 50. And number two, like, how much, bro, that shit is time. Okay. It's time. It's, even if you're getting pickup, you still got to you got to put that shit in packaging. So you're really not getting 3 out there. You got your taxes now. Then you got to fill out your forms. And by the way, guess what? If you're trying to do that week in and week out, you're going to get your 1099, dude. So like, good luck with that. Is it worth paying your tax? You're going to have to pay your tax man at the end of that. Like, oh man.
Right. Plus you're competing against people who, you're buying it at cover price.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, someone like
$2.12.
myself, where I don't really sell a lot of, but but the folks that are in, like, let's say a Midtown or a big chain like Third Eye, I mean, they're buying books for half cover price.
It's less than that. Yeah, they're under $2 for those huge ones. They're under $2.
Yeah, so I don't. I never really got into the new comic, the new comic book day. Trying to buy comics and flip them. You're at a severe disadvantage.
I stopped Wednesday Warring. It was after the In Hoc Lee 1 in 100 Spider, and I was already on my way out of it at that time, anyways. But there's an incident went down at the local comic shop, and they put the wrong book in the wrong thing, and everybody's asking me why I wasn't mad because that book. And I was just like, yeah, I was just like, yo, man,
right?
Yeah, the Spider-Gwen, and I was like,
yeah, it's a big book.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could tell. So at the time, so in 14 and 16, I had these LCS.
I never Wednesday Warrior, never.
I had the managers pretty much working for me. They were handing out our cards so that we could, because they didn't buy stuff, so we were getting phone calls to go buy collections. They didn't really know their variants on the wall, so I would just buy variant. I'm talking the original Delados, all the Venom stuff. We were getting those for $12, $10, stuff like that. And we were putting them up, and we had to, now in those days, it started getting harder and harder. At one point you had to have it. Your door on the East Coast would open up at 10 o'clock. You had to have your shit up by 10:15. You had to have it sold by pretty much 12:30. And if you didn't have it sold by then, the price started going down on the book. I mean, that's how quick that shit was. And we were damn good at it. But it's a pain in the dick. And then people, because of whatever, started figuring out, and then they would follow you, and stuff got a little bit harder and a little harder. Eventually I blew it on the Thanos Albuquerque, because that thing sat around for a while, and that was Marvel Rub, the big Marvel Rub book. And I just kept looking at that one and looking at it and going yo, and I call my partner and I'm like, dude, I know. He's like, we don't buy 9/6s. We don't buy Marvel Rub. We don't buy that shit. And I was like, I know, because you could get dinged on eBay. They automatically hit you and send it back. I was like, I know, but dude, the Thanos is getting some stuff, it's getting some pull. And there was 3 of them. And I was like, let me buy the one that's got the least amount of Marvel at $10. What's $10? That's how crazy disciplined, but this is how I've dealt with it. So my partners always help me whenever, and I've called you guys before about it too. Whenever I'm thinking about doing something stupid, I'm going to call somebody. It's like a support system, right? And if you got good comic book friends, they'll be they'll never tell you no, but they'll be yo, I wouldn't do it, but or they might tell you no. And he told me no. So we passed on all 3 of those. So, I mean, kind of took a hit on that and was whatever. I had bought, I had bought a collection, and I opened it up, and I did the dumbass shit where I only looked at the first 2 books, and it was at the time, Deadpool was kind of cool and stuff, and I thought it was Deadpool runs because it looked like a Deadpool run. Started off with Deadpool run, so I said, cool. Bought it. It was not a lot of shit. It was 3 long boxes. So I spent $75, $70 on it, something like that. I opened up. The rest of it's Death of Superman.
I bought one collection.
That's guaranteed in any collection that has 90s.
Had all that horse shit. Bunch of other dog shit in the rest of them. The top box was it. Yeah.
This is all Death of Superman right here from a collection I bought. It was a great collection. I mean, but this came along with it. I mean,
no, but yeah. So I was taking hits on all that, and then shortly after that, I was in line and I had called it, and the manager was gone, and I said, "Listen, this In Hoc Lee book's coming up. Make sure it's there." And I was like, "Listen, and price it at $100. I'm willing to pay the $100, the ratio for it. Just make sure it's in my bin. Make sure it's in my bin." And we got there, and I'm waiting, and I'm not even showing up early because now I'm just a dick, right? People have been trying to beat me from the door. They've been lining up, not knowing that I have the manager on speed dial, on my phone. So I'm calling they're not answering the store phone on Tuesday or Wednesday. But they're getting my text messages. So he's like, hey, dude, I'm not gonna be here, but I got it. I put it in your file. I go in there, and dude in front of me just got the book in hand. He's like, dude, look what I just bought. I was like, sweet book. And I turn and I look, and I'm not going to say the guy's name that works at the shop, but it wasn't the manager because he was on vacation, even though he said he had there. I said, hey, man, you got 2 of these books? And he's like, no, we only got 1. I said, no, you don't. You better have 2. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, well, like, I reserved the ratio. They're like, no, we got your ratio. Yeah, you're good. You're good. And he handed me the B cover.
Yeah. Well, variants are.
It was a weird game.
A lot like cars. The minute you drive them, off the lot, or the minute you take the book out of the store.
Steve, that one's still ain't come down yet. That one's still ain't come down yet. That one's still that book that variant.
Right. Well,
yeah, that one ain't.
Of course, there's always exceptions, right? I mean, clearly that's not a 100% rule. But
no, yeah. But that's why I wasn't. But you're right. I wasn't so bad at the time because I was like, oh, that's a big fuck up, and I was like, oh. But what was I gonna do? Like, they had taken care of me. I wasn't gonna yell at the dude. They were actually. They're like, listen. When they found out what happened, they're like, we're gonna call. So the guy in front of me is like, well, what do you want to do? And because I helped him out before, I go, what do you mean you want to do? He's like, well, I mean, I got the book, but like, I was like, I'm not buying the book off of you, dude. You can have it, enjoy, and go. And everybody's like, how are you not mad about this? And when they came back, they're like, listen, we'll have a chat. I go, don't have a chat with him. Just have a chat that he screwed it up. Like, don't write him up. I mean, the guy still, I don't think he works there anymore, but he worked there for a long time, and he kept screwing shit up all the time. But like, and after that, I was just like done with it. I was like, man, I'm not doing this thing where I'm trying to call up to do the Wednesday Warrior shit. It doesn't make that much of a difference. I'm getting too much. By that point, I was already getting into buying collections, and we were doing, 12 shows a year. So like, I moved on from that shit. So I didn't really care anymore. Just so I hit some comments. Marco, Guns N' Roses, Patience. That's actually my wedding song. So yeah, thank you for that. What else do we have? FOMO and Marco go hand in hand. Yeah, I'm the ultimate FOMO person. Just buy everything and leave it for the kids to sell it if they want. That's my goal. Yeah, I mean, different people have different goals. Like, I'm not, we have Pete on this channel, and he does sell some stuff, but realistically, like, he buys way more than he sells. Way more than he sells. He's not into the buying aspect as much. I just know that, like, it has always done well for me to, pay for my other, like, because I read a shit ton of comics too, and I got a bunch of kids that play with vintage toys and shit because it's always been fun. The real reason, I'll be honest with you, the real reason why I do it is because and Dub can tell you because he sees it, like, that's where me and my homies, most of us who have kids, this is what we do now. Like, this is our going to football games or getting slammed at the bar till 4 a.m, getting up and doing it at 10 o'clock the next day. Like, we don't do that anymore. So we got to occupy our times. And like once a month on the weekend, hey, what's good? Let's go. I mean, like,
twice a month.
Let's go down to the, the auction. Let's do, and we have some, I mean, obviously we get some good times still going off.
Right.
So.
And it's like, I think Darth Lopez said it earlier. It's the hunting for the things, that's what starts a lot of this for us. And then you keep doing it and you keep finding, I think maybe Steve said it earlier, but you just keep finding it as you find things. You like look for other things to find, whether it's for you, whether it's for somebody else, and you hunt, and that just makes like it kind of like satisfies something. Like you say, you don't go out, you don't go get slammed at the bar at night, you don't go do those other things, but like that hunt actually, you can get that stuff, and
it's exhilarating.
Yeah, you find that one book, or you find that collection, or you find whatever, digging through those boxes, it makes it worthwhile.
I mean, you saw it before. If you go ahead, Darth, go.
No, I was gonna say it's just man, it's a great feeling when you find a $200 book for $5. You know what I mean? It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen a lot, but it happens. I mean, I've been lucky. I've been patient. I mean, that's the thing with discipline. Just to bring that back. So I won't go hunting if I haven't made enough money off of sales on eBay to go hunting. So I now don't hunt on my own dollar. I buy my Wednesday books. I pre-order FOC, and I buy that off my, my living, right? But to go hunt, to sell, or for me, it all has to come from comic sales. So I haven't been hunting in, I don't know, maybe 2 months. Now I got a little, now I got a little $200. So, this weekend I might go, or maybe wait or not. But I just want to bring that discipline. I mean, I think that's the most important thing. If you're into your hobby, you can't live. Some people like living. What is it? Living above their
Living
means.
above their means. Yeah.
And
Sometimes you gotta live
I
down
was
here.
doing that early on. Yeah, I was doing right. I was kind of doing that. Right. You know what I mean? I was hunting and buying everything, and then when I get home and I'm going through everything, and this is $5, this is $5, this is $3. Like, I spent $100 and I can't even get my money back. And that's where the discipline came in for me, was just to learn to be patient. And dude, honestly, I pulled out my phone out. Before, in the beginning, I wouldn't want store owners to see me pull out my phone and going through shit. Dude, now I don't care. I dig and I pull out my phone. If I don't know what it is, I'll look it up. Hey, what's the worst that's going to happen when I get there? Either he's going to let me pay $5 for it, or they're going to charge, or they're going to look it up, because this happened to me before. You know what I mean? Oh, you were looking at your phone, and so he went on eBay and went through all the books, and I was like, okay, well, you know what? No, thank you. I'll pass. You know what I mean? So it's just being
And you move
super
on.
disciplined.
And that's it too. Like, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but there was one of the biggest, I guess, influencer things, and you'll see these videos. Whenever it gets slow, they always do it. Is like they put up that stupid sign. It's the same ass one. We've been seeing it for like 8 years now. I check prices at the counter or whatever. I reprice books at the counter, whatever that shit ass sign is. And it's like, some of those people I know that talk about that have never been to a comic book store. Like, legit ass. Never bought a book at a comic book store before. Legit ass. Never been to a comic book store before. And like, that's one thing that I'll never do. Like, if you want to do it now, have I done some shit where like some guys like pulls that and I'm like, okay, yeah, man, give me a sec. I'll be right back. Let me grab a couple more books. Cool. I got to run real quickly, but add this all up for me and I'll be back. Yeah, I've done that before. I mean, it just depends on the attitude of the person too, though. But you also don't know what they're using. Like, I've done it where they're like, hey, we got to price these at the thing. And then all of a sudden they pull out a 4-year-old Overstreet guide. And I'm like, please take your time. Please take your time. Just check all the prices. Go ahead. Now we're good. You know what I mean? So like that, you catch it. If you do it enough, you catch it on every end. I think that's one of the things maybe you guys haven't, maybe Wayseeker hasn't experienced as much so far because he's a little bit into it, or I know Darth is starting to see it, but like, even with, you've never heard me complain about CGC, like, because in the long run, it always works out. It always works out for me. It always has. And I was the guy that was saying like, hey, everybody get complaining, go ahead, go CBCS and see what's happening. And now what's everybody saying? My man down there got sick of me saying that shit to Steve. Steve's like, no, I'm sending them in there. I'm sending them in.
It's funny you mentioned CBCS. On earlier episode of Rennavision, I talked about how I asked CBCS to return my books to me so I could submit them to CGC, which I did. One of the things is that CBCS did, though, is they charged me for shipping them back to me above and beyond $4 a book. Now, believe me, they whatever, there is some charge associated with it. I'm not saying I wanted everything back, but $4 per book to return them to me, that was excessive, on top of the shipping and handling charge. So I disputed it with my credit card company. I found out today, won that dispute. So
nice. No, but I was thinking like a lot of people were popping off because that was a hot subject to talk about too. But then they actually, like, the cows came home and they actually had to send their fucking books to CBCS. Yeah. And how'd that work out? Because from what I hear, that didn't work out too good. And now they're losing books again, just like somebody predicted. I mean, like, you could go that, if that's your route, that's what you want to do, fair. But like, that was another exposure thing where people were talking about it. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like, it will even out in the end. Now, for some people, it does, like my stuff, I know what he's saying. Like Lopez and what he hunts for compared to what I hunt for are different. Like I love what I love in the hunt isn't just finding the $200 buck. What I love in the hunt is going, I know this is the first appearance, or I know this is a good thing. Like Sam Alexander.
Yeah, see,
like
yeah,
I've been
see,
sitting
I'm
on
not.
Sam Alexander for fucking how long now? Since 2016. I've been sitting on Sam Alexander's ass since 2016. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
See,
I
I'm
was
not.
getting that shit
I'm.
for $1.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry, John.
I'm almost to that level. Because again, almost 30 years out of the hobby. I think it's exactly 27 years, right? So again, that's when I came back into the hobby, I was all into the influence stuff, all into 2015, so about 2016, something like that. That's when I started to discover stuff on YouTube and all that, right? And so, and then so again, I gotta give credit to work. I gotta give it. So I learned a lot from certain channels. And Pete's one of them. Pete's in the top 3 people I always started watching. And I'm still quite not there where I want to be because I used to have a hunting buddy, and he was good.
Yeah, we lost.
Like,
Him.
oh,
He had a good
that
hunting.
whatever. And sure enough, I would. Yeah, he was dude. He was a monster, and I learned a lot from him. He actually made my hunting way better. Unfortunately, we had to fall it off. It happened. So we're digging somewhere in Chicago, and we're digging and we're digging. I love X23, right? He didn't know nothing about her until I give him a heads up. So I passed up those. I don't know what they are. They at the time they were like $60, $70. They're like, what do you call it when you have to order? A comic shop has to order. It's not even a incentive.
Oh, are you talking about the
you got to
minimum?
order
Minimum, what?
A qualifier?
Yeah, the qualifiers.
Yes, the qualifiers of and I passed them up, dude. You know what I mean? And so he got him or whatever. But I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. So I'm still not at the point where I can identify a first appearance of somebody. You know what I mean? Like I'm still quite not there yet where I can say, oh, this is the first appearance of this person or first appearance of this person. I'm still not there yet. I still have I'm still learning that part. And there's just so much. Where I live in the area that I live, dude, there's so many stores. And sometimes I don't know if you guys go through this, but I'll be at my fourth store and I'm like overwhelmed. Like now I can't even. Now I don't even know what I'm.
Yeah.
Right. I don't even know what I'm looking at. And then,
that's why, I always say it. That's why it's good. And Dub sees this too around us. Like there's a group that I go with and you'll see us just start throwing shit at each other. Like literally just taking comics and throwing them at each other. And I've done it before, like Comic Man Andy. I mean, there's this, like we just start digging for other people and just, you get so fucked. You got to switch your gears. You just got to do something where it's like, yo, dude, all right, cool. But look, I can't pass this, so I'm going to throw it to my man over here. Or like if you watch the show with Jen, we were talking about how we were in that one place and she's climbing up and we're throwing books like literally across the store at each other and helping each other out in each other's niches. And like sometimes like that sounds stupid because you're like, why would you give somebody else a book that's hot and it's like, it's not even a karma thing. It's just get something else going because then that person can be like, yo, dude, hey, let me tell you something, or let me hit you up with one of these real quickly, or and it's gonna actually get you going too. Like it's fun to do that shit. Like if you're not having fun doing this, like if you're sending crackheads into a house to steal X-Men giant size X-Men books, like dude, you're doing it wrong, bro. Well, come on, we all know that story. We all know who that is.
Know,
I mean, like, come on. But if you're doing that, you're doing it wrong, bro. Like that's not it.
Well, right. Well, look, you talk of all you talk about all those influencers, and I'm not taking a shot at any of them, but none of them have ever done a video or content of them hunting. None that I can think back, going all the way back to them.
That's not true. That's not true.
He's saying of the people that we were talking about. He's not.
I don't want to name names, but I've seen people hunting. I've seen them go into the shops and talk about what they get and do TikTok videos, things like that.
Yeah, people do that all the time. People do TikTok videos all the time. I've seen some of the guys. Like there's some guys that the channel that me and Steve used to be on, there's guys that are in there that I've seen next to me. Not the ones that would always brag about it, but there was guys that I'd see There's guys that I see. I mean, like you had to know too, like for the longest time, like it wasn't until like 2020 when somebody at our shows actually, because a lot of times those dealers weren't even watching our shit. So like one of our guys came up and was like, "Hey, Marco," and I was like, "The fuck?" I was like, "Oh shit!" And I was like, "I didn't even think you guys," because like they didn't, like a lot of those dealers for a long time wouldn't even watch any of the YouTube shows and stuff like that. But one point that I would like to get into, because you said taking out your phone as in Dub. I wonder, you do a lot of shows too. I love it when people pull out their phones. I have no problem. Pull out your motherfucking phone.
Yeah. I want you to buy something that you looked up, that you know what you're doing, that you know what you want. I don't want to sell you the book. I'm not here to like be a salesman. I mean, I'll tell you what it is, tell you what I know. Either you want the book or you don't, but you need to know what it is. And if you have
Peter
questions,
Parker knows.
I'm happy to give you the answers. But like, I don't need to convince you to buy something from me. I mean, it's not what I want. If you want to look it up on your phone, if you want to see what the prices are, you want to negotiate, fine, all day long. But like, I don't need to convince you to buy it if you want to get something from me.
Yeah, I've never once been like, "Yo, dude, you can't pull out your paper. You can't like, please do. By the way, if you don't see something and
I got my notebook,
let me know. Whatever." And some of those guys keep it like. And the other thing is like, I don't give a shit that you're reselling shit either. Right. I don't care. Yeah. The ones that I hate is the asshole who comes into your fucking dollar because like a lot of times that's. Fuck, man, you'll sell a couple $1,000s in dollar books on a 10-foot table. I do not give a shit what you find in there. If you think I haven't combed through that motherfucker 100 times over, I don't give a shit. If it's there for $1, you can get it for a motherfucking $1. Do not flip that book in my face and be like, "Oh, look what okay, fat ass, go ahead." Like, good job, man. You found a $3 book for $1. It's in there for a reason, dude. Like, you didn't even look what that book looked like. You're just flicking that in. Yeah, dude, there's no back cover on that fucking book. But, yo, did you decide to flick it in my face instead of ask, "Hey, is there anything wrong with it?"
Dude,
the one thing too is the people that, like, I get that it's a $1 book. Like, there's a yes and no, right? Can you open a $1 book? You don't even have to ask me. Open up the $1 books. But what I'm not going to have you fucking do here, Detective Dick, is take that fucking book out without taking the tape out and then inspect it like it's the fucking Mona Lisa. Bitch, it's a $1 book. Take that book, put that bit back, buy it, get the fuck on. That's it.
Come on, man. He wants the 9A, bro. He wants the 9A.
I don't want Come on, man. You know who? It's always that dude that takes up 6 spots, is spread across your shit. Has got a book there, and like there's dudes trying to wait behind you. Like, be cautious.
His backpack over here on the side, one side, his notebook on the other side.
On the other fucking side, and he's up there.
Notebook. Oh yeah, baby. Yeah.
You know the guys because we got a couple of them. That'll do that shit, and like, and Dub's been there before. I've been telling people, get your shit, get away. Don't ever come back here. Not here.
Hey, don't make fun of dudes. Don't make fun of guys with notebooks, because I got my phone. I got my backpack. I got my Atlanta Braves notebook. No, and I do my notebook because here's another thing I do. I buy doubles of shit I already have. So then I come home. Yeah, I come home and I already have this, and I got like 9. I spent $30 on books I already have.
Your iPad, your computer, your laptop, whatever you want to bring. Just don't block other people from looking at my books.
Yeah, don't set your shit up.
Whatever you want, man.
Don't set your shit up like it's your office on my boxes.
Exactly.
I only got 10 feet. I can't have you taking up 6.5 feet of that 10 feet.
See, no. When I go, yeah.
I mean, the difference between you and Marco's like so far in the green that he can have like 10 copies of a $1 book.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the difference. Like Marco can have Sam Alexander. He can just store these things away for 8 years.
I can't.
You can't do that yet, because right now you're trying to, get into the green every single purchase. And I mean, the longer you do that, the more in the green you are, the more you can do what Marcos likes to do, which is hunt for those first appearances. And that's what I like too. I mean, when I make money, I want to hunt for first appearances that are a buck or two that I think might do well. And if they don't, I'm in the green anyway. So like I can it's a buck. But that's the difference between I think what you're saying. Like, you're going hunting, you have a budget, you want to make some money so you can go hunting again, and you're not trying to keep those books long term.
Yes.
Marco wants to hold those first appearances that are $1 that he thinks are $1, and he's not paying anything more than $1 for them.
He's a hoarder.
The big change I've seen in the market, with the summer, and this downturn that's occurring is, those first appearances are holding better value, and some of those secondary and tertiary keys, are just totally falling off.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, people were making shit up. Like people were saying some shit. Like I'm not saying I've been around forever, but I've been around for a long time, and they were like making some shit, like first cover appearance of
right, like the first. Remember when Nebula 1 was hot? I mean, because it was their first solo series.
I mean, I guess some people know how that's something. That's a $1 book. That's not a 25-cent book, but that's not a fucking 50. Like I think people were. No, I don't think. I know for a fact that people needed content and they were trying to make stuff. And sometimes they went on a wire and would say, holy shit, that's actually a thing. And we would say, yeah, it's a thing, but it's a fucking $1 thing. It's not like you can't go on the internet and say some dumb shit like that because you're going to look like a fucking moron. And they go on the internet, they'd say that shit, and there'd be a lot of dumb motherfuckers going, oh, that's fucking something. And you're like, fuck that.
Because I'd watch their shows, and you know this, Marco. I would do my thing, like how do I say it? Parallel to them, or like I would go against that, right, or whatever. I'd hunt. I would try to anticipate what they were going to talk about because it was all MCU based, right? All MCU adjacent. So any MCU show that was coming, any potential villain, anything like that certain channels would talk about. Okay, and I'd write it down, and I would go hunt, and I would go find some stuff, and then sure enough, I'd get lucky. They talk about it on another on this channel or that channel, and that book would no longer be a $5. Then it would get the alert. Let's be real, get that alert, and then that $5 book was now a $40 to $50 book. And I would tell you, I would sell it immediately as soon as they talked about it. I wouldn't even look on eBay. I would just go on there. Well, I would obviously price search, and then boom, I'd sell it. That's when the times were good. That was during the pandemic when everybody had extra. And that's another thing, right? Because now that nobody, I've heard it a lot, and I think it's true.
I think there's a couple points to what you're about to going to say,
right.
Go ahead. It's nobody got.
No, I think there's obviously when inflation going on and nobody has that extra cash from the pandemic money and
I don't buy any of that. I don't buy any of that. I
think it's a very small portion.
Okay, well let me hold on. Let me make one point. Okay, when Star Wars, and you know this, Marcus, when Star Wars during the pandemic was at its peak,
because people didn't
know shit about Star Wars until all the influencers, if that's what you want to call them, the channels, all started talking about. We might see this guy. We might see I was selling Thrawn books, newsstands for $450 raw. Right. And now I can't even sell the extra copies that I have. I've had one listed for, I don't know, 5 months, and everybody's offering me 150, right? 160, right?
But Lopez, I get what you're saying, but what you're missing out, and I think Wayseeker's going to get this up, and Dub probably can say the same thing, and Steve will agree with you a little bit, but we'll also probably agree at this point is in the last 8 months, we've seen a vexing of people, and a lot of the people that have vexed, because believe it or not, we watch people in behind the scenes. We see people who are buying our books, especially when they're paying stupid money for dumb books. Because in the beginning of the pandemic, I was like, I'm not in that. I'm not putting this dumb shit up there because I'm not going to buy it because I was worried about getting chargebacks, right? So like, I'm not doing that dumb shit.
Yeah.
But even mistake too, because I didn't know that this shit was going to be idiots. Just idiots throwing money. And guess what? Before the checks ran out, those idiots ran out of money.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. There's less idiots listening to people on the internet buying whatever's on the top 10 list or whatever they say is in the mystery box or whatever whatever horse shit they're trying to pass. All that money's gone. It's not just check money. It's like they got serious problems. 20% of the people who were here a year ago on my IG that were posting pickups, dig videos, all that shit. I'm about to make it rich. Hashtag investing in comics. Hashtag what the fuck they call it? Hustle culture? What the fuck? What lazy motherfuckers? Every day I wake up, I fucking what is a fucking
hustle culture? Yeah. Come on.
Shit.
But how much
Okay.
is also like? There's just too much supply. Like,
Yeah, they ran
look
out
at
of
the
it.
downside of Whatnot, right? Whatnot people are unloading like 120 books in a 3-hour show. And it's people doing this all the time. And like Star Wars, you see people like a 3-hour show, you're going to get 120, 140 books in one night they're going to sell. And there's just not enough people out there. And most of those people are just trying to go to eBay and flip them for a different price. And there's so much more supply than I feel like there would normally be because of Whatnot. And I think it's only going to get worse because a lot of these people that are like trying to make it right now, they're realizing that they're not making it. They're trying to do exclusive, and their exclusives aren't selling. All that stuff is going to also go to the market because they're going to be out of the game. So like supply is getting flooded, and I feel like it's only going to get more flooded in the next year. That's my thoughts.
I think you're not 100% wrong, and I saw Steve nod. And there's a little dirty secret that I can probably tell. I'll be the one to say it because I don't think anybody else is going to say it on here. But fuck them, come for me. There's a lot of guys out there who are to try to keep up with selling on Whatnot, overpaying for books, and then selling on Whatnot and losing money, and just like looking at the bottom line of the dollar of what they make, and it's catch up to them.
Well, yeah.
I mean, they're getting left over.
I always
So they're fucking up the market triple.
Here's
Hold on, Steve, say it nice. Sorry.
He say it nicely. He can say it politically nice. Where I'm just gonna be like, "Fuck these dudes."
Well, yeah, here's the nice way to say it. Revenue is the big lie. Revenue is the big lie. I can tell you, I made $3 million, last year. But if I didn't make any money on that 3 million, then what good is it? And so there's people get their minds wrapped around revenue. What matters is income. What's left over.
Hey, but they're going to be paying taxes on that fucking revenue too, which is what they don't fucking understand.
Right? Yeah.
So
it's
I mean,
it blows my mind.
There's a lot bigger motherfuckers than me out there. Like there's a lot. I'm at best mid-level at best, and I mean I carry around. I have what I don't have at the safe. I probably shouldn't say this. No. But I have a box.
Let's talk about like hypothetical situations.
Yeah, so hypothetically,
Marco's got a safe, BK. Marco's got a safe.
Oh, I definitely have. No, because you have to, dude, you got to pay that, and you got to pay. Somebody asked about CGC books and shit. If your shit ain't insured, like, I mean, let's just talk on a real level. And Steve's seen it before, and I switched some stuff out in it, but I have a box that I have in my house. There's a box. There's 10 comics in the box, and it's at just fair market. The 10 comics that are in that box, because they're not highly fluctuated comics, they are year-over-year gainers. That box is over 3 figures in that box at all times. I have that just because. What do you got? Crickets?
Let's Lopez go. Let's turn off those crickets.
Crickets.
Come on.
Oh, sorry. Smoke break. Sorry.
I mean,
those are real crickets.
I mean, but
Midwest, man, Midwest.
Yeah, for real. But that's a thing. Like, so that's just stockpile in case like I have something like when other stuff too. I also, as everybody knows, like, you've seen it 100 times. Steve has thrown it around before. You come to the house, there's just dude, it's like you got it because of the different things that you have to have, but that's what you have to have it on. And was saying all that, still not. I mean, I'm not even mid-level at what some of these guys are doing. It, even around us, like that's not anywhere close. So it's not out of the realm. But when you see what they do and you talk to them and they put you through their rankings and you're like, okay, I understand. Like, I understand what you're doing. I'm not going to try to emulate you because I can't do it on that level. This isn't my full-time job. This isn't what I do. You know what I mean? This is just how I make it as a hobby. And then you see people saying like, oh, I sold, X amount. I sold $10,000. Okay. How much did you pay for that $10,000? Can you start picking up bundlefuls of cash? Can you sit on books? Can you sit on $100,000 worth of books? Just sit in your house and like, hey, if it comes up and next time I need it quick for a trade, because that's what it's for. It's like, if I have to do a trade real quickly, if the AF-15s come back up, because I sold one fucking too cheap years and years ago and it's burnt me and I'm butthurt and I'll never fucking buy another one. But if the right deal comes up for a high enough grade, you better believe that box and this cash is gone in a fucking second. But like it takes a long time to get to that level. This is not, I've been doing this for a day. I went Wednesday warring. I built this shit up. All the stuff that Wayseeker was saying, Lopez was saying, everything Steve was saying, Dub was saying about patience, talking to your friends, making sure you don't overdo it, making sure you don't fall for the bullshit, make sure you don't fall for FOMO. You guys all know my opinion on exclusives. And like not getting worked up with all the horse shit. Like the lies about people when people are sitting in their parents' basement telling you how it is, like at a con that they're not at, or like how this is ran. Like that's not. Don't get caught up in that shit. Don't get caught up in that shit, man. Just don't. It's not.
Well, you know, and it's almost disappointing because as sellers, we kind of got used to every time that, you know, Key Collector would put out an alert or someone would talk about a book, like it would sell, it would disappear. But now, like, you know, I mean, I have no problem with Key Collector. You know, I know other people do, but like, you know, now it's like, man, an alert goes off. Like, here I'll put an example. Black Cat Annual second print got an alert today. You know, because you know Nick thinks it's a good pick. Okay, whatever. Now I happen to get a 9.8 of that book on the cheap. You know, believe me, I would not pay big money for that book, but I was like, all right, for slabbing fees, all right, man, all right. And I mean, I didn't even get one offer, you know, on it. I mean, 5 months ago, that thing I wouldn't have even gotten an offer. If someone would have snapped it up, right? Mm-hmm. So you know, part of it is
what changed then? What changed with that? Because me and Marco had those conversations. Yeah, you're right. Back then. Once that got in, I used to wait on those alerts.
But Lopez, but this is the thing, Lopez. We've seen this before in different. We've seen this before, different versions. There was stuff like when it hit a top 10. There was stuff that like earlier, like through 14, 16, 18, you would see these ebbs and flows. The only problem I think now is A1, like we said, tied up before. But number two, like the lie isn't like there is a certain group of people that are figuring out that app is about content creation. Like,
yeah,
I don't know what you pay for an app. How much does that app cost?
It's $2. I you know, I pay for the app. I have the app, whatever. You can bash me all you want.
Have I ever bashed you for using the app? I've always said the same thing.
No. It helped me when look, I'm not trying to pump it up, you know. It when I was a rookie, my second coming to the hobby, it helped a little bit, you know what I mean? But now, like you guys say, now you know, those alerts don't mean anything anymore. It's all and then the pricing on it is ridiculous. Like, well, you know,
the pricing has never been
right. You click on the price, like all those High Republic books that they got all those alerts. Yeah. Dude, they were all on the shelves. They were selling for $5, $6, $7. So
Lopez, why would the difference is having information?
It was irrational exuberance, and that's what happens in all markets. Yes. You know, they heat up, then they get overheated, then they cool down. I have no doubt that in you know, in let's say a decade, I mean, there's always new people, you know, coming in, and there's always, you know, people cycling out of the hobby. I mean,
there's a big interest.
It'll come back. It may not be exactly the same as
I think there's something called, and I've told Marco this, I think there's something called influencer fatigue. I think that in this whole time, I think collectors have gotten savvy now. It's like now maybe they see the bullshit, or maybe those same influencers have taught you know, your regular collector how to be a better collector, how to avoid buying books that come on the top 10 list once they're already there. And they've gamed them a little bit, and maybe their dudes are hunting more, or maybe just people don't have any more money to spend on comics because, you know,
I don't think they're savvy. I think they just left.
Yeah, it's not singular. It's not singular.
Think they've left. Like
a little from column A, a little from column B. You're getting all these things coming together.
Yeah.
And as time goes by, it gets a little more and more diluted. I mean, there's less people there, and like Wayseeker said earlier, there's so much supply. And
Yeah,
there's
see,
a certain number of people.
I don't even count Whatnot because Mark, my thing on Whatnot is, dude, if I watch your content, homie, I'm not gonna buy books from you because I feel like it just feels wrong to me. It feels ethically wrong. Like, I'll support your content, I'll give you a thumbs up, I'll super chat you, but to buy a book from you that you put on Whatnot, I just can't do it, dude. You know what I mean? It just no. And then some of these dudes sell. I don't watch it, but I hear and comments with Tack and the other shows I watch, how this one guy will sell a book that's $20 on eBay and he'll sell it for $40 to $50. How is that even possible? Like, how is that? I don't even understand how that works. If you can just go buy that same book on eBay for $20, but you're gonna buy it off this dude for $50.
It's
Because you buy from people that you like.
Yeah, you
know,
No, I'm
influencers.
no, I have no shame. I'd rather ask Marco for a book to give it to me than to say, "Hey, dude, I'll buy it from you." Or if you're selling for $50, come on, dude, we're friends, man. Let me get it for $25, bro. I'm your boy.
People are fans of
Sudden death. I mean, if you see how
something.
sudden death works, like you just have to hit the button as many times as you can, and before you know it, just jump $40. It's
That's
crazy,
when
like the ways that you can overcharge on what.
that's when they're taking advantage, and that's when they're taking advantage of their own fans. If that's if that's accurate, it's like, so I'm a content provider and I got books. So hey, homies, watch my Whatnot, whatever. I want to go live and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, blah 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 blah. And I don't hey, I don't knock anybody's hustle. They gotta do what they gotta do.
If a Simon book.
Right. But so then you're just buying off of a guy that does comic book content that you enjoy watching his content or his spec or whatever you want to call it, and you're just going to overpay just because.
Yeah, that's what they do.
So how many shows are on YouTube? Like, I know Marco doesn't watch other YouTube shows, but some of us watch other YouTube shows, and you'll be watching the show, and like literally, if you can set your timer every 30 minutes, they'll be like, oh, check me out on Whatnot on this day, check my friend out on Whatnot on this day, check this out on Whatnot, and then they'll be like, oh, well, go check my favorite retailer here, check my other favorite retailer with this exclusive here. Like, it's like on
all the time.
You can watch that, you can set a timer, and you'll see how many times they'll mention their Whatnot or their, and I don't have a problem with people selling on Whatnot. I don't have a problem with people selling their books. I don't have a problem with, but like every 30 minutes, beginning of the show you have sponsors, end of the show you want to have sponsors, fine, do those things. But like, you're literally saying the same thing every 30 minutes and putting your little icon up there and your picture, your screenshot up there of your thing. Like you can watch it and you'll see it. And it's so you can't watch those anymore. Like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't want any of that.
No, I believe. Go ahead.
Okay. I don't. When you hear bad spec, okay, like, I'm sorry, dude. There's not. Spec isn't bad. Like, and now people are going to take that out of the way because people have co-opted this shit, saying like, well, it ain't bad. Spec is just spec that hasn't hit yet. No, you're not speculating. You're calling stuff spec, and it's just creating content. You're creating content because you know that people will grasp onto it, because there's a certain amount of people there's probably a large amount of people who are watching us now or will be watching this show that don't actually ever resell. They actually will just have books. We know this. There's some people on this channel that don't resell, that are friends, and you see me trying to talk them off the fucking ledge all the time, right? And some of the is the shit that I know the people out there, that's how I get it, because they'll send me, well, this person said, and I'm like, dude, listen, you're not paying. You guys have all behind the scenes see me lose my fucking head because I love you all. Like, dude, don't waste your money. I preach the course the whole time. What are we doing here? And like, well, if it's bad spec, that's not spec. Like, that's not like, hey, I have speculation. There has to be a reason, and the reason can't be the first solo series with the second appearance of a bubblegum soccer player playing. Humping. I think there's bad. It's not bad spec. That's you're just trying. You have nothing to put on a top 5 list, a top 10 list, or no content list, and you don't want to say it. If you're like, look, this book is, I know people are hating Black Spider-Man right now. I know there was just a Diamond Summit where some guy's screaming, "How can I sell any of these superheroes?" But I was in the comic book store the other day, and guess what? I saw the kids picking up Miles Morales.
Yeah,
I bought a bunch of Ultimate Fallout 4s after that.
Well,
same thing
When
I was reading Nova with Sam Alexander, that was the same thing. I was like, holy shit, man. I was like, this is actually, I'm a Nova fan. And I was like, I can't believe they're doing Kid Nova. This is some dumb shit. I read it. I went to somebody else and I started asking people. That's speculation. Like, oh shit, I see this as an undercurrent. Like, oh, hey, there's 17 new characters in a fucking book. And somebody used the word anti. That's not spec. Saying that there's new characters in a fucking book, that ain't spec. That's just fucking Wednesday, bro. That's fucking Wednesday. I mean,
Star Wars is different. I've told you, I think there's bad spec in Star Wars, and and it's coming from the content dudes.
Wrong word.
Okay, well, whatever you want to call it, but these dudes don't even know Star Wars, right? And so then they talk about these books, they pump up these books, remember when we first started talking? I don't know whoever it was, those Old Republic books or whatever they were. Right, and I had like a short box of all of that, and I remember calling you, hey, dude, they're talking about these books, and I checked on eBay and it tripled the price, and you're like, we talked about it, hey, these are characters we're probably never ever going to see in Star Wars, right? To me, that's bad spec. To me, it's bad spec. Like if you're, what I mean, if you're talking about a character that you think you're going to see and you do a whole show on why are you
no, because that's some bullshit. Like, no offense, but that's some bullshit I hear all the time. And it's what word salad really is. And I know JJ hates it when I say it, but like,
so do I hate word salad.
Yeah, because what it really is you're taking a bunch of fucking, you'll say first appearance, Kira, Thrawn, because that makes sense because of Acolyte, and you're like, no, you just said Acolyte. That's not fucking. That's nothing. That's just words you threw together, and they're like, yeah, let's
talk
go.
About Acolyte.
They didn't link it up. You didn't even come up like at least give me some bullshit ass good story. It might not make sense, but at least give me some type of shit. They don't even do that anymore. They just like first appearance. There's the word and.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, put all that shit together. Fucking words that doesn't mean shit. Like, I could throw up a bunch of words too, and that's not spec. Like, saying first appearance is not fucking spec. And if you think it is, you're gonna lose a lot of fucking money. I'm sorry, and I hope you don't, because I enjoy doing this shit. This shit helped me get through the fucking pandemic. I should have stopped doing this. My friend, you can ask Dub. Everybody still laughs when we're at cons. They're like, "Look at this guy, fucking still on the YouTubes, you fucking idiot." Like, yeah, dude, but I like doing it because I like being out with y'all. You know what I mean?
Well, you never were. I don't even like using that, but you never were like a pump and dumper.
I don't pump and dump because I actually
right.
That's my buddy B Comics. That's my comic book brother over there. We talk about this stuff all the time. And that Star Wars 26 last week, it came out. I've been collecting the lightsaber covers, so I bought that one. And and I passed on the A cover, and I'm like, I don't care. It's like, even though I heard all the news about so many things, and he texted me the next day, hey, that book showed up on whatever list. I'm like, yeah, I don't care, it's fine. And like we talk about it, and we make sure that we're keeping each other in check to not get caught up in whatever it is, And you have to do that. You got to talk to your friends. You got to make sure that you're staying like buying what you want to buy, but don't buy it because it's on some list or somebody is telling you to buy it or I mean, you've heard this 100 times, but that's the honest truth. Like,
you tell something too to defend some. Now we're talking about influencers, but to defend some of them, okay? Like, I saw a comment the other day somebody had sent to me, and they're like, "Oh shit, it's going down." And this dude had made a comment to somebody as a human being, I kind of do actually respect. I don't agree with everything he does, but as a human being, I actually respect. And the guy called into his honesty, like about his integrity and stuff. And the comment that the guy made was, I 100% do not believe that content creators would write articles or be on YouTube if people from the comic book industry weren't paying you to push books. Well, motherfucker, you're wrong. A lot of these guys like to do it because it's something for them to be constructive with. And then a lot of the guys like the fame of it. So when you're asking why are people pumping up books and not selling them, it's because they want to, like, oh, Key Collector did my thing and announced me. Just like when we were Wednesday Warring, like the book already sold. I will say to that one guy who was saying that he was bribing people and paying people, when somebody said, okay, you got the platform, tell me who you paid. and you change the subject, you're full of shit. You didn't pay anybody to do that. And I'm not defending a group or an
I can't
organization.
follow any of that, but
Somebody will follow it. Somebody knows what it is. I'll send you the little link. But like that's what I'm saying. Like if you want to know why some of these influencers do it and they pump and dump stuff or they elevate stuff or whatever, and they're not actually selling books, it's because they do it for the ego thing to say like, oh, all these people are doing. That's why it's not for money. You don't make
there's so much, you know, and
the average person doing this does not make money. Like does not make money doing YouTube. You don't get paid by people.
A lot of, I mean, I saw during my time on another channel, you know, a lot of people chasing like, you know, key collector put something in there, and you know, I didn't get credit for it. I'm just like,
yeah.
What? I mean,
that's why they do it.
Can you imagine being Nick and trying to track down the original source?
He would send them messages all the time, bro. They would send them messages, and they wouldn't even be right. Like some of the times, they weren't even the person who first said some shit. Like, cause I go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, and you know, it's also possible with that two people make the same observation about something. Absolutely. Like he'd have to hire a full-time person to basically triage all the I got there first type things. And
I mean, like,
but I saw Nick. Look, I have that app, right? So back in those days, and Steve, you know, I joke, you know, when you post, well, whatever. I've told you on your shows, and you're here. Nobody would. I think maybe you, somebody else, talked about champions, right?
Yeah, no,
nobody else was. Nobody else was. All of a sudden, there goes that thing. I've seen it. I've seen that app do it to the Mr. Needle Mover, because I do watch other content. I do have that app, and I do that because when I hunt, I want to be able to find everything that people talk about and gets an alert so I can flip it, so I can sell it. So I've seen people, content providers or content whatever, talk about this or this book, why, whatever. I'd say about 2 days later, there it is on it's, you know, on the app. It's just on the app, right? And there's never no credit towards it. It just has a little whatever he says about it.
Stop. This is the problem, man. I've told you this 100 times. Who cares? Pay for the app. Don't pay for the app then. Like the bottom line is his business. I don't know Nick. I never wrote Nick. I don't call Nick. I don't hang out with Nick. I couldn't pick Nick out in the crowd. I guess I might have talked to him once or twice. Doesn't matter to me. His business ain't my business. And if he's used stuff before, because you've done the same thing and called me up and be like, yo, dude, you did this on the show just a day ago. Now somebody else did on their show, and now they're giving it credit to him. Yeah, dude, this shit happens. This is the place where content creators come to create content. They take our shit all the time. Fuck, people's taken Pete's show before. We've seen it. Taken the fucking whole show and redone that shit. Like, what are you going to do? Like, we ain't going to make no money off of it. We're not going to make money off of it if he dings it or not. That's not what we do over here. But like, at least that's legitimate stuff that's getting out there. That's how we see it. At least it's good information that we feel is good. You know what I mean? Instead of like, hey, this 22 appearances in this book, 16 first appearances in that book. Let's put some alerts together and fuck up the conversation.
It is a compliment. Either way you look at it, you know.
You just read your books. Read the books and know what's in it. Like, that's all that matters.
Reader speculator
all the time.
Reader speculator.
Just know what's in your books that you buy, and then it doesn't matter because you know what's in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's, I mean, and that's it. Like when people say like, oh, Marco doesn't watch other shows. Yeah, I don't. And it's not because I have friends that do shows. Like I have friends that I talk to on the phone that do shows. And one of the reasons like I don't do it is because, not because I think they're not good or anything like that, but I don't want to sound like a parrot. I don't want it to look like I just took somebody's stuff, because I don't. That's like part of it. And it's really hard. I don't blame people who do that. I don't blame people who watch my show and then go take my shit, because you want to know what? They watched my show. I got their 3 cents, you know, for their view. So fuck it. I guess that's how much the worth is, you know.
Exactly the same as what you said. If somebody's buying a book from me and reselling it, I don't care what they do with it. They bought the book from me and they walked away. Like, that's all that matters. They watched your show and they went to do something else. Like, it's already done. It's over.
Yeah, I always found that funny. And Steve, we would always joke about it. That we're like, if they cared about selling books as much as they cared about getting credit on Key Collector, they'd be fucking rich, bro.
It's exasperating. It really is. People would not believe what goes on behind the scenes of, the let's say the comics spec community.
I mean, when that's the next market, I think, or next market, that's the next area that I think is going to start deflating. Like, hopefully it will, because I think that will cause a calm back to the marketplace. And yes, we're going to have to take some hits, and we're going to have to sit on a couple books a little bit longer. And some of the stuff isn't, the actual value of the book compared to the price of the book that I was selling for is going to have to catch up. That's not the case in most like good Silver Age or real keys. When I say real keys, I'm talking about big boy books,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've had a really strong summer.
Yeah.
And even though values have drifted off, and one area that I've had that's been really healthy is even early modern. Like if you look at like 1991 or 1992, like some of the slabs that I've sold this summer that have brought in good money is Batman Adventures #1, not number 12. Infinity Gauntlet #1, right? Ren and Stimpy #1.
I can't believe
right? So I mean the market's still healthy, even in the modern era.
Across the board it has. Yeah, we've done well. Like Cole books have done well. Anything graded from that era, we've done. I mean, they've been books that kind of sit around for 2 or 3 months, but we've gotten pretty good prices on them as long as they're graded. Silver Age stuff, hit or miss, hasn't been great. Like one book, maybe a week. Talking about in like the $600 to $1,000 range. It's been nice, but like compared to 3 months ago, like we weren't getting that. You know what I mean? And then modern, yeah, we've obviously the Sandman stuff was a nice surprise for us. It wasn't so bad. Some other stuff that we had that was just cheap, and we decided to like half price cut our stuff out has done pretty well. And then of course, like the shows have been okay for us. They haven't been great. I gotta tell you, the last couple of shows haven't been great for us.
Just okay.
But they've been okay. They've been covering and making it worth our trip out there. But I think that's what I'm saying. I think that squeeze is going to be what we're going to have coming up here for the next 3 months, till around holidays time, and then after that we'll get to. I think it's going back into the holiday season. The checks coming back in for tax return checks. All the big ones, right? Like, but I still think, Steve, and you may disagree, but you do more volume on eBay than I do, because I don't sell a ton on eBay. I sell a ton live. So, but like the bubble isn't, I've said this a lot, but the bubble isn't exploding or whatever. It's deflating, and it has to get to a point of deflation where it comes to like a standard ground where all the people who are going to get out of the market are out again. All the people who are going to stay, which we will have a nice group of staying, but there was a huge group of people. Once you see the card people get back into it, it's hell, dude. The shit stinks. As soon as them card motherfuckers get back in it. Man, I know we got some card guys in the chat, and they're going to hate I'm saying this, but as soon as you motherfuckers came back over here, as soon as you guys weren't just picking your noses at fucking Knights Halls on a Tuesday with nobody in there, and flicking through your little cardboards, as soon as we started seeing you at card shows, we were like, or comic book shows, we were like, fuck, here it comes. Here comes the downfall again. And when you start seeing that tidal wave flow back out again, I think we'll see a normalization of the market. I mean, that's what I think.
Yeah, and I think the meat and potato books, they're selling, anything.
I do not comment journeys.
Slabs in the sub $200 range, pretty strong. But like modern variants above $200, slabs, they're very weak right now. Yep. And I mean, like for instance, I know one of the favorites was Contest of Champions #1, the first white box, right? And I had the U variant. I was like, I'm getting out while the getting's good, So, and And then, once some of these characters that people had bet on, it's like I got rid of my Vengeance #1 variant, right? I mean, I don't know that America's, we're going to see the highs on America Shop that we did previously,
Yeah, I think that was one. Like, I've kept some of the other stuff with her, but getting rid of Vengeance, when we talked about it, I thought it was time, so I didn't say. I mean, like, you had to get, but like that's an interesting take, like what you bet on sometimes, because sometimes, I was like only bet on characters that you love, but like sometimes it's like bet on characters that something's going to happen, right? Like that's the scary part about spec. Like, don't do it too much.
As long as you don't. I mean, but see, like most of my books, I mean, the typical top price that I pay for any book is $5, and then there's the slabbing fees.
Mm-hmm.
That is, if you did an average, so there's not a whole lot of downside when you're doing that.
And that's the thing that that goes back to the cost that we were talking about earlier. Like, those are all things you always have to factor in. And I think, like, can we bring up something that really just I had always chapped my ass when I heard this, and I don't know how you guys felt about it.
Sure.
Crack.
We can't say no, so I don't know why you ask.
What's that?
We can't say no, so I don't know why you ask.
So the one thing that I always, and at the old channel, I was strictly told not to speak about it, was crack press resubmit. Yep. Shit.
Bless you.
no.
No, he knows, because he knows. Like, so like the old channel, I did a lot of like production stuff. Yeah, but
What
like
did you do to Steve?
one of the things I was told, like crack press, and because when they said that, I said, "That's horseshit. You don't want to do that." And they're like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Well, have you ever heard of the onside bump? Like if you have an onside bump book and you crack and press, you're gonna get an 8.0 out of that motherfucker. Like, you're losing money. Not to mention, like, just
crack press resubmit. Matter of fact, I just finally went through all of my slabs and picked ones that I thought were worth CPRing. And you know how many I have hundreds of slabs. I found 6 or 7 that were worth CPRing, and I mean, I looked at the books, and you talked about this earlier, Marco, is, CGC, as much as we criticize them, yeah, they get it. They get it right. I mean, when I'm looking at the book and I go and I see, okay, they graded it a 9.4, and I'm looking at it. Can I get to a 9.8? It's like, probably not.
They probably
so, yeah. So I'm not a. That whole CPR thing is primarily BS.
Well, then it led to a secondary problem too, which I also informed him is, you do know, because you're not submitting it in, because you're not having them crack it. You're not actually cracking resubmitting. You're submitting for the first time, and then the same people would use the census numbers, and I'm like, dude,
yes,
fucking like, you literally, because like when you said take your phone out, Lopez, like some of the coolest stuff, especially when CGC used to give you like free grader notes, and they used, like, CGC used to be the shit, dude. I'm telling you, they used to be the shit. You got free grader notes even on like 9.6s. You get it on 9.8 sometimes. Like, there's some crazy shit they used to do. You used to put your own fucking titles on books. Like, there was some good, really cool shit you could do, as long as but it also invited bad characters later on. Okay. But like in the beginning, there was a lot of cool shit you could do there. But like the census was one thing that, like, that and GPA, like, that was our, I guess, what's the Nick app thing called again?
Key collector.
Key collector. So like,
you know what it is. Stop.
Dude, for real, I keep forgetting it. But like, for like, for us, like, that's what right? Everybody had GPA. Like, that's what we did, everything on GPA, and CGC ran through GPA, and you had GPA open all the fucking time, and you had the census open.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things we used to do at cons, and I've said this before, especially in Baltimore, when I was talking with Austin, with the Reese brothers, is because they knew we did this. They used to fucking laugh at us all the time. The Reeses, the Reeses, them dudes. But we used to go up, and there's a guy that would have like Silver Age, Jungle, all the artist stuff, all the Cole stuff, all that stuff. And we look at it, take it, buy it, walk right up, on site it, like all Saturday and Sunday. That's all we were doing. Would back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Have slabs, either sell them on the floor or put them up on eBay and just sell them and like kill it, dude. It was great. It was amazing. But like, you can't do that. And what we definitely wouldn't be doing is like, we wouldn't take it and go like, oh, well, we're going to now crack it, repress it and submit it, because we knew that the floor bump was probably worth more than you would have got out of the press anyways. And I think that's one of the most disgusting things, but we used GPA and we used the census to pretty much say like, there's no books graded above a 5.0 for Jungle Tale 60, right? But we do know that there's 5 other books that are like in that realm that people have or what that artist has, and we know that we can sell it. It's just going to take a little bit for us to sell, or we can sell fat, whatever we're going to do with it. And that was all through using GPA when it was legit. And GPA has always been legit, but I mean, using the census from CGC. And I think that's part of the problem that's really hurt, and why I was so anti. Like, I think people, like, there was moments behind the scenes where I was yelling at people about how shitbags they are for what they're doing because of that. And I don't think I ever explained why. And why it was is because that's it. Like, the census is something really good for you to be able to try to figure out what could actually sell. And now, like, you don't know, like, fucking look at the census. The shit doesn't even make sense on some books. Like, especially some of that modern shit. Like, dude, how did all these books get graded for one? Like, before the big grading shit fest of the last 2 years too, like when that started happening, like, so there's a bunch of like 9.6 tripled, but there's all these 9.8s, but you only see X amount of 9.8s being sold every once in a while. Like, that's fucked, man. That whole scenario's fucked. So that's
interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've just grown up in this era of where it's the CGC population report is not reliable, and it's just a given.
Yeah. I think because I started more in the Silver Age, it was such a valuable tool for us to make money off of. Like, it really hurt to see that tool just get exploited and turned to shit. To be honest with you, they turned it to shit. They fucking destroyed it. And I mean, like, that we'll keep seeing stuff like that happen. And you can't get, like, I don't know, I guess I'm getting sentimental about it. Like, you can't. It's just like anything else. It's like, FOMO is selling. Like, do you guys get that? FOMO is selling. That's the one thing that, like, I've always talked about. Like, that's the hardest FOMO thing for me to get over, is FOMO is selling. Because everybody's going to bring up, remember when you had that book and what'd you sell it for? Because you got friends that sell. Like, you're hanging out with them. They're going to give you the shit when that book comes up, and they're like, hey, fuckhead, remember how you sold that book? How much you sold that book for? And they know how much you sold that book for, and they're going to get you on it every time.
Right. And I'm sure it's harder in silver and gold. But, you know, when you get to bronze, you know, I mean, every collection, you're not going to have that same FOMO, because every collection you hit is going to have a run of ASM, right? Yeah. I mean, it's going to have a run of X-Men. It's going to have, you can predict almost what it's going to have, you know? So I don't know that FOMO happens as much in bronze and copper, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Do you guys deal a lot in modern? Like, sometimes you see a book and you sold it, and then you're like, shit, that perfect example was that Spider-Gwen book. Like, it was $800. I think it's over. At one point, I think it was like almost going for $2,000. The book that
it was almost.
Yeah.
It was close.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you can't look back. Do you guys ever try to look back and be like, damn, if I would have just held on to that one for longer?
Yeah. Oh, all the Afros, the Bartel Afros. I wish.
Yeah.
I sold them.
I mean, you think about it, but you got to let it. I got what I got. I needed it at the time, or I did it at the time, and that's what, you know. It's fine. Like, I should be like a lot more right where like, oh, I should have kept that, or I shouldn't have sold that. But there's no way, because if I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't have bought this other thing, or if I would have done that, I wouldn't have bought. So like, you can't regret that stuff. You just take it for what it is, what you got, and then move on to the next thing. Like you have to like put that behind you and keep going.
I'm glad somebody else is telling Darth Lopez that instead of
And
me.
then, and, then, and every, well, I'm not going to say every modern collection because modern collections are a little bit more diverse because of the variety of titles that have come out. But I mean, just this past year alone, I mean, I've bought 2 collections that have had an Edge of Spider-Verse. 4, right? No, 2 in it. Yeah, 2 in it. So I don't even get FOMO with selling that, the Edge of Spider-Verse too. So
yeah, because it comes back around.
I think the hardest thing for me is trying to get the price that I got for a book 3 months ago. Like I'm new to this, but I'm like, oh, I got $70 for this book 3 months ago, and now it's going for 45, and I have a hard time wanting to sell it for 45, even if I make money on it. I'm like, but it was $70 3 months ago.
Oh, because it's your first deflation. Oh, yeah.
So that's sort of for me is like, wanting to hold it to where I can get what I got, before. So that's what I feel. More.
But that might actually be kind of cool because then you might not get like selling FOMO is a motherfucker. Like I could put on a 2-hour special of selling FOMO, like books that dudes will rate. Like there's a list. If you got a 5-hour long drive down to Baltimore, that list's gonna come out. Like with me and my buddies, everybody's gonna be like, "Hey, remember when you sold that book for X?" Yeah.
Here's a little tip that I use on eBay a lot. A lot of times I'll put what my cost was in the custom label field, and that way, if I get a offer, or a lot of times, a best offer, and that's one of the things that I changed when I saw the market was taking a downturn is I turned on best offer on most of my eBay listings. I also turned on free shipping. So I think that helps with the eBay algorithm, the best match. If you put your cost in the custom label field, that may help you feel better about, taking less than what you got before. Because if you have in that field that, I paid sales tax here in Maryland is 6%, if I'm not using my resale certificate, right? So if I paid $1.06 and I'm getting a $40 offer, and whereas I used to get a $70 offer, well, I'm still making, $39. Well, right. After the Gemini mailer and the eBay fees and blah blah.
You're making $30, whatever.
Yeah. So I do it differently because when I buy collections, there's a price point I have to hit. So I rake it out as price points I have to hit. So that it doesn't matter how much I sell. Like it doesn't matter how much I sold the exact same book for 2 days ago. It just matters that here's a number, and every time I sell it, that number gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And then my other books over here, I don't have to touch that. I don't have to touch these bags full of money. I don't have to
whoa.
You know what I mean? I don't have to touch any of that. So
must be nice. I wish I had a bag of money laying around.
Having FOMO, you could have the same things. I mean,
oh no, I don't. I'm anti-FOMO, homie. You know that, dude. No,
I do want to bring up that BK because I know people don't like to talk about this, and I don't understand why. Like, because eventually you're going to get in the same mix. But to be honest with you, a lot of my collections it's through relationships. That's it. It is either I've made relationships with managers at comic book stores or just people in general. People in general that seem people wonder why I still go to LCS all the time. Yeah, sure. I don't have to pick up my books. I can order. People know you there and they'll know that you bought. The word gets around, and then when they got overstock, they'll sell it to you. Or I do shows, and believe it or not, people, if they like you and you're not an asshole at shows, and you're just fucking around like I do, they have a tendency to talk to you and say, "Hey, by the way, I got some books, I got some stuff. Do you mind coming looking at them? Do you mind kind of?" I mean, it sucks. It does suck sometimes because, especially when some of the newer people are coming in, they try to jump people behind you, or there's notorious people in our market that do that all the time that are we'll try to snag. Yeah. No. But I have a reputation of not being nice to some of those people, so they try to stay their distance away from me. But That's how it happens. Like it does. Just being in the community. The more you're actually in the community, out there in the streets, as they say.
Yeah.
Times you do it, and then there's the other ways. Like
On the grind.
Steve hunts a lot too, but like you got to do the hunt, Craig. You got to do the. I mean, I got a story about one time when I had to go down and this dude wants to buy fish tanks downstairs and he's showing all his lizards and then pulls out a bunch of like graded, what the hell are those things? What's the porno comics things? Sweet and Sexy or whatever?
There's like 75 of them now, isn't there?
Eros?
No, it's called Sexy and Spice. Spice and, you know what I'm talking about?
No.
That shit. See, nice and somebody's gonna know these shits.
Oh, nice and yeah, it's the nice.
Naughty and nice. Naughty and nice.
How do you know that way, Seeker? How do you know that?
You know what I'm saying? And he wants to show me all, and I have no interest. And then like the rest of it's like great shit, right? Like it's all raw fucking like
Tijuana Bibles.
Marvel runs from the fucking the 80s. You know, it's looking good. And he's like, listen, he's talking, and I'm looking and I'm seeing. He got those books all taken care of. The raw books are just chilling there, and there's iguanas like fucking walking. I'm like, don't walking. I'm with my partner, and he could see I'm steaming, and he could see I'm about to go at it. And this dude's like, well, I got a deal for all the Naughty and Nice books, and like I got to throw in all these. And I was like, don't throw that shit in. He's like, what? I was like, don't throw it in. And he's like, well, I want like 10,000. And I was looking at him, and my buddy's like, yeah. He's like, do you know anything about this? I was like, I know that they go for a lot. Like, I do know that they because they get signed by artists, and like there's a bunch of pervs that like to whatever, but yeah, they go for it. He's like, you think it's worth 10,000? I said, hey, how about this? How about I give you like, I don't know, $200-$300? You let me pick through some of these boxes over. He's like, well, it's part of the deal. Cause I was like, well, you're giving it to free anyway, so why don't we just throw you a couple $100? And we cherry picked those boxes, locked out there. You smelled like, like the old pet shops when you used to walk in a pet shop and they had like all the fish and birds and that stank that's with the animals.
Mm-hmm.
You smell like it walking out the joint. We didn't get everything we wanted, but I got a couple of decent books for a couple $100. So doing all right. But that place was creepy. I thought he was going to throw us into a closet and skin us alive. But I mean, that's the shit you have to put up with when you're going on hunts. And that was a guy that was off like, I don't even know what the fuck that was. That was, when was that? 17? So like 18, that was 17. That was right before everybody started leaning back. So it had to be between 17 and 18. And that was when people would try to like get to the door before you. Like they would call while you're there and hear that somebody else was there. And they'd be like, I'll just offer money for that collection, like over the phone, like some dumb shit like that. And you're like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, this is stupid. But yeah, no, it's kind of crazy. That's fun. All right. What else do we got? Anybody? I don't know why I told that story.
Story time with Marco.
Okay. Like make friends with people at cons and always visit them on Sundays before the end of the shows. That's not a bad idea. You can do that too. You can.
I mean, you're talking about things that we're selling. I mean, I only focus on Star Wars. So I don't know any of these other stuff. Whatever. I mean, but for me, like trade paperbacks for Star Wars, that's what to me I've been selling. Like maybe that's because Star Wars people just like to read the book and like to have them. But like if you're looking,
you're talking to the TPB king next to you. Did you know that?
I know that. That's what but I found like trade paperbacks.
I'm staying very quiet, but
it's a great way to do buying and selling. So if you're looking for other things, look, I found that
those go for money.
You're cutting into his profits. Dude,
I go
dude.
Like the Thrawn trade paperback, that's like $90, easy money. All day, post it and sell it.
Dude,
like 24 hours. So
what did I just see?
Trade paperback, right?
Nobody listens when we say it. All of a sudden,
so just so that more people don't get into it, let me tell you the risk. There is a risk, and it's called reprint risk.
Yeah.
So if they go back to print, Marvel does Thrawn reprints the Thrawn trade paperback, then you're SOL.
Yeah, well, you only have one. So like if it does,
you have to know what you're doing in the trade paperback and hard.
Do the legacies go for anything? Because I just left those at the mall. The Star Wars Legacy.
It depends on which kinds. If they're smaller ones, the omnibuses or the epics.
Steve, are you okay with this right now? Or?
here, yeah, I'll basically say it.
I'll let Mason say it, and then you can confirm or deny.
Well, I cornered the market on Legacy Volume 1, the Epic Collection, and have basically monopolized that for the past 2 or 3 years, and selling them at, they're almost up to $80 a pop.
And I mean, like the third one,
Damn.
is like $200 for the hardcover.
Expensive.
So I mean, it just depends. Like,
Mm.
if you have like the small trade paperbacks, they're like 1 through 10. Those ones don't sell for as much, but you just got to learn what to sell.
That's too much.
I'm new to this. Like, this is just one way that I've.
Here's one. When you guys
I'm only in Star Wars, so like trade paperbacks is another way to help me for the reselling to buy the stuff I want.
Mm-hmm.
I see them at half-price books all the time, and I don't even pay attention to them. They're just right there.
Yeah, I pick through that stuff a lot, but there's one thing you guys gotta look for when you're.
I can't hunt for everything.
Smaller ones, when they had buyouts, and you're looking through the hardcovers, there's a tabletop version of the Old Republic. It's a tabletop, like it's like this big. It almost looks like a coffee book. You ever see that motherfucker? Pick it up. Right? Pick that motherfucker
That's too much.
Rick.
See, now I'm gonna be distracted when I'm hunting.
$50? No, $50. Give him the $50. Fucking run. Like, give it to him and run.
But do you guys get tunnel vision when you hunt?
No.
The last time I hunt, I was like just looking for Sonics.
Star Wars. For me, like, that's all I do. So anything that's not Star Wars, I don't care what it's worth because I don't have any knowledge on it. That's my one thing.
Back up. Sometimes on Sundays, dealers want to unload stuff. It depends on where they're going to the next con, what size dealer they are. If they're coming to dump out their like we'll sell sometimes like 5 long boxes out to like bulk it out. It just depends, BK. Like, that's once again, but you get the feeling when you talk to dealers, you'll know. Like, that's part of the conversation. Like, the biggest thing when people were like, "Yo, people just walk up to line and they can just pay for stuff like that they bought before the con." Like, yeah, man, that you buy, like, that is a thing. That's a thing. No matter what people tell you, that's a thing. Like, usually your deals are, or something's coming up and you're like, "Hey, listen, if you still have this at the end of the show, if you still have this by day 2, let's do it here. Hey, look, I gotta run back in my money. Let's take care of this later on." Like, that shit. Yeah. I mean, but that's why you have to get to know some dealers. And there's some dealers that are very nice. There's some dealers that are caves. There's some deals. Fuck, there's weirdos, man. It's comics. We got tons of motherfucking weirdos. Like, tons.
Yeah.
A pound out here, bro. So, like, you just gotta be cool with people, and then don't be cool.
Smelly. Smelly weirdos.
Yeah, there's that too. But yeah, so what we were saying, you said that about TPBs. Basically, I'm sorry, you had.
Yeah.
Or no, you're saying what I've found has been selling lately. That's what I feel like I've. You were talking about what you found has been successful in this downturn, and that for me is kind of the one thing I found.
What were you going to add on, Lopez?
No, no. I'd asked if you guys got tunnel vision because I think the last time I went hunting, I spent a lot of time trying to find Sonic. Just because I got lucky and I found I don't know what it was, a retailer incentive. Yeah, and I sold it for like 100 plus. And next thing you know, when next time I went hunting, because those books will be away from in the stores I go to, they won't be with the Marvel and DC. They'll be in a special area. Yeah. And I spent like an hour looking for Sonic books, and then I would find some, and because I didn't know, I pull out my phone. I gotta go to eBay, or I even go to the hated app and see if it's on there or it's not on there. And and I spent like an hour and a half looking for Sonic books, and none of it was worth anything. So that's that. I get tunnel vision a lot, and like Wayseeker, huh?
So this is something. Education isn't free. No education's free. It doesn't matter if you get a degree, a diploma, if you learn how to change toilets, everything costs something. And that's what it is. Like, you're not getting tunnel vision. You just went to school that day. You fucking learned a lot of lessons. And if you can see it as,
and your class was Sonic that day.
Yeah, your class was Sonic.
Hey, it's
but that's it.
Anybody in the chat, find Sonics. They sell. Like
I've been saying it. Hey, I've
been saying it. Talking about downturn. Like, the last couple of shows that I did, video game comics are what I'm doing. And I sold Sonics like 2 two of my big books at the last, like that Flint show that I did, were Sonic books.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's what people are looking for. That I have a whole row
Yep.
of video game books on
And
my wall, and that's what they want.
and the
I-
needle
that's why I
mover,
was
the
up your
needle,
booth,
the,
was 'cause I
the
Right,
was
that's
needle
why.
mover.
Right.
I was looking at
Pete always has
Yeah.
Sorry, Mark. Pete always has segments on those books,
Oh yeah,
right?
Pete's got
And that's the and when I'm hunting and I see Call of Duty Zombies, right? And I'm like, what is? I said, yeah. I'm like, what is this? And I see like 4 issues of #1, and I just grab them all, $2, right?
With that book, you have to remember because there's 2 titles that are named exactly the same thing. You want the one with the guy with the face,
Yes,
on
Mr.
there,
Steve.
not the guy
Exactly.
like standing in a pose.
No,
right?
exactly,
I've made that mistake before, but you learn.
Yeah.
And when you focus on like Sonic, you're giving yourself an education, and over time you become a generalist, and you can look through any box and know, and I'll just show you guys, and I'm not the first to go like, oh, these are worth something, but like it's like I learned about this over time. Who would think that these things are like big sellers and sell really quick?
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
Wow.
but you learn that over time, and people pass over. They're like Winona Earp, but it's just like you discovering Sonic, right?
Yeah.
That's how I got that's how. So like Star Wars, like I love Star Wars, obviously, but like for years people had asked me to do shows and talk about it. Until the pandemic hit, I wouldn't, but like it was because I went same thing. Like I went through a learning thing with that. I mean, like you have. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna shout out to James because he's aware. Actually, I think that because of he posted something on Instagram about Sonic, and I think that's what just made me want to pay more attention to it when I was searching for whatever I was searching for, and that's how I got lucky. I found the Sonic book, and I says, "Oh crap, whatever." But I just want to shout out to James because he's up on the Sonic game. That's all.
I mean, that's the thing. Like when the way you hear it and how you hear it from people, it's not a bad idea to go and to look into it. That doesn't mean you just go out and start buying stuff because they say it, but like, and no disrespect to James, no, but I'm gonna say it for myself too. Like if you hear me say something, that's because you might not have all the details on why I'm looking for something in that way or how I feel about it. I'm not telling you go out and buy something. I'm just, hey, dude, you might want to take an eye and take a peek, and then it goes downhill. I mean, but at the same time, this is still where we make money. Like when like a Dub knows, I was looking at Sonic a long ass time ago, and I wasn't telling everybody I was looking at Sonic a long ass time ago.
Yeah,
right.
You got to keep some of the secrets, right?
It's not even that.
You can't share everything.
You can ask the guys in my area, and Peter Parker was making a joke and everything else, but everybody knows that I'm pretty generous in my area. And by the time the show doors open, I will go and dig through boxes and hang out with anybody and throw them books and not even give a shit. Like I don't care anymore. So like that's not a thing to me. But like, yeah, there's some times where I'm just like, I have got a goal. I want X, Y, and Z books at this thing, and I'm gonna secure those one way or another and get them done. And I do get tunnel vision for that, but I still fuck around. Like I don't think like it's unless I'm trying to learn something, it's tough to not like mess around while you're doing this. You know what I mean? Because it does, because then you get there is bad tunnel vision where you just start going down that rabbit hole and you get so deep in the shit that you're just like
Star Wars did that to me in the beginning of my early hunting days. Once I found like 4 Thrawn Empire newsstands in one box, every time I went hunting, that's all I looked for. I didn't even pay attention to Marvel, and I would get depressed when I wouldn't find any Star Wars books of value because I love Star Wars so much, but I don't care about the books. I find them, I'll sell them. I don't care. So I would just go look, and then I didn't find anything, and I'd get you know what I mean? I'd be bummed out. I'd come back home, tell my wife, no, I didn't find anything.
I want to address. You said something about keeping secrets. It's not so much about keeping secrets. It kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier. It's not about keeping secrets from people. It's not. Don't tell people what to do. It's what I would do. Yeah. Like if I'm buying the Sonic books like 5 years ago, and I'm not going to tell other people to do it because maybe 5 years ago it wasn't anything. Like I'm buying those Mario books. I was buying those Mario books like 10, 15 years ago. I didn't just buy those, and I had those Mario books, and that's what you saw on my wall. Where
Probably bought some of them off me because we had gone to that auction and bought a bunch of that. Like I don't know if you remember this, but I was the king of Valiant at one point. Everybody was laughing at me that I was selling Valiant. I had a whole fucking table of dudes, old heads came in going, this dummy, he'll never sell that shit. I sold out of 22 long boxes of Valiant, I sold everything but 3. And then I just bulk out the 3. It took a while. Yeah, it took over a year, but I did it.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
So laugh at me then. Like laugh at me when my checks cash.
Sounds familiar. Laugh at me now, but just wait.
No, I mean, but that's part of it too. Like you do have to put yourself out there sometimes, and yeah, there's people are going to make fun of you. Like
right.
Oh,
like
I'm not
you make fun of me all the time with what book?
Yeah, I mean, like, but that's part of the fun of it, though. Like,
yeah, it is fun.
I mean, which book are you talking about? I make fun of you for a lot.
Bank.
I'm the one. Time out. I'm the one who didn't even know that fucking book existed. I had to tell.
That's why you're my friend. That's why you're my friend, because I can call you and say, "Hey, dude, what's?" I can't look. Disney Kathleen Kennedy put a cease and desist.
Oh Jesus!
I cannot talk about Tiger Peak or Darth Plagueis. I cannot.
Oh
see,
my God.
Yeah, I can't.
No, I mean, I know AOA was joking, but like, I think that's some of the fun, man. Like, and that's where I think you see some of this stuff where you hear content creators or whatever, or people saying like Steve said, the guys who are about revenue numbers instead of actually about profit numbers are always the guys that are going to tell you like, oh, I don't know, or this or that, or like push a book, but it's only when they want to sell it to you. Where like, I'll tell them, yo, dude, there's one up here. It's cheap, and go out and grab it. This is the first appearance. I mean, Dub can tell you stories. Probably you heard about me too of what I've done out there, but like they're real. I don't care. Like I've been called stupid for doing that shit before too. It's like, I'll help people as long as they're, halfway decent.
Oh, I love when people are like, digging through boxes and they're looking for something, and like the sale I was at recently, and some lady was like, I love Nightwing, and I'm like, I'm looking through the boxes, and every time I come across a Nightwing, I'm just like, oh, here, just like you, Marco, I'm doing Frisbee with the the Nightwings,
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. I think when you're around, like, I just hated. I guess that was part of the problem too that I hated about being at that other place. They were always like,
just say no, don't say the name. Don't say the name.
They like they were.
There was a lot of pressure and a lot of rules.
Yeah, like there was a lot of things where they were like, hey, and I was like, this isn't what, man, like, yo, this isn't how it is. Like, it's really the comic community is really cool. And unfortunately, over the last month too, with some of the stuff that's been happening, it's like, yo, I think people really lost track of it, bro. Like, this is fun. Yeah, you can make some big ass money on this. And I ain't even close to making like I make good money, but I ain't close to making big ass money like some of these dudes are doing. But like, it's still fun as shit, man. And if it's not, like, please stop ruining it. Like, when did this turn into a fucking girls' high school gym, man? Like, this ain't it. I didn't go to. I
told you, but
all girls school, bro. Like, not me. We didn't have that shit.
You might not remember. You might not remember, but in the beginning of our friendship, our hominess, I told you I saw it coming. That it was like a roster of all these guys, these comic book gurus or whatever, all under one umbrella.
And when I tell you, blow up. Fake. I said a lot of those dudes are fake.
You did. You did. And look at it. It all splintered off. It like, the dynasty broke up.
The dynasty didn't break up. The cream.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, you three you've been in this for long enough. But like, a downturn isn't a big deal.
Yeah,
right.
But
that's the first downturn for a lot of these people, and they're panicking. Like that's, and I mean, they don't have things to fall back on. Like some
don't think we don't feel bad about that.
No, but I mean, I
don't know what they do, but I do. Like, I honestly, I don't feel that's healthy for the market. Like, I know dudes that were saying like, "Yo, I'm killing the game. I'm quitting my job," and I'm like, "Yo, son, your house note's not paid. My house note's paid. Like, I'm not quitting my job for this shit. And I know what my earnings are. It's way better than, like, not to try to tell somebody their business. And then here 2-3 months later, they had to go back and beg for their job back. And then they get on the internet talking about how they balling. Like,
no, that's just.
But
no,
but
I know.
that's-
It's like an ego hurt to some people, and I'm not making fun of those people. Like, it sounds like I'm down. I'm not. It actually hurts that happened. I wish they could succeed because it would have made it healthier. But they got caught up.
Like I don't pay attention to all the Mando variants for Mando 1, but there was a note about this green variant dot that came out this week.
Oh,
and,
Jesus.
And I didn't care about that, but it was like what I got from that was there's 250 of the copies that sold, and the guy's sitting on 750, and he had to destroy the 750. Now he has 750 more. So like what that means is that of his store variants, he was only able to sell 1/4 of them, and he was not able to sell. Now,
And all of a sudden, there's a green dot in here.
For now, we're 6 weeks past it. He still was not able to sell 3/4 of that store variant, and that's just where the market is right now. And these people, I mean, it's probably the first time that that's ever happened, and we're just at a different place. And that's I feel like where this market is, and people are getting more desperate.
Oh, we should
more desperate.
It's getting late, but we should one day tell the story of Brain Trust, because like this is something we've even seen in the variant market before. Like we've seen this happen. Like this is not the first time.
Yeah. I learned the hard way with that shit, dude.
We saw the cleansing before, and it was glorious. And I was one of the people that had my I threw the shit on the fire too. I was one of the ones that was just poking that motherfucking bear. Yep. Boom! I'll throw some more gasoline on that shit. And I thought it was gonna. And to be honest, when it came back, it was different. It was clean again a little bit. People were pitching me stuff that made sense. It seemed okay, and then just like that, it's turned right back to the same old horse shit. Like, the Marvel policy of disposing of your book, right? Like how you dispose your books. You're not supposed to sell that shit. So if nobody's supposed to sell that shit, then how does that shit keep showing up? Yeah. How does it keep showing up then? How's the movie all the time? Like, oh yeah, I bet you a bunch of green dots all of a sudden showed up variants, right? Like how those you only sold 250, but somehow you can buy 500 of them. I mean, I'm not saying that for sure. I'm just saying. So, yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation and a whole nother day, I guess. But it's good to hear people like you and even Lopez, though he gets down and doesn't listen all the time. Like, because we want people to stay. I don't think anybody here who's been in it for a while really wants people who want a healthy market, that want to just hey, I just want to learn some stuff and keep it going or get bigger. I mean, I have no problem with people getting bigger. I don't, as long as they're not sending crackheads into buildings to steal fucking.
There you go. Yeah, dude.
Hey, no, man. No. I mean, if that's what you're going to do, that's what you're going to do. But
hey, look, see,
oh, better watch yourself.
Right. Hey, it was allegedly a giant size.
Hey, you better watch yourself. You better watch yourself. All right. So, hey, I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Maybe we'll have another one. Some other people too. Maybe we'll do some artist stuff too. I know I'm long overdue for doing something with Eric Hurd, but I appreciate you guys all showing up. It was great. So thank you very much. We don't even have a fucking ending for the show. Unless anybody in the chat or you guys want to add anything else, make sure you're following all these guys on their IGs or is this everybody's IGs names? Right? That is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. You got everybody IG's names.
I didn't do any follow anywhere from anyone.
What's that?
I'll take any follow from anyone, anywhere.
His Tolson is funny, dude.
Oh, the Tolson shit's hilarious.
That character ain't going nowhere. I mean, that character's not going anywhere. That's a Marvel hoax.
That's part of why I've done. If you go to my Instagram, I've been doing these kind of goofy ass videos because, it's just sometimes the hobby gets too serious and people take themselves too seriously. And I don't want to do that. So
yeah.
Marvel
and really my I want to get out of comics and just get into writing sketch comedy. So that's really what it's about.
That and Tolson fan fiction.
Exactly. Yeah.
You got real talent. I've seen your IG. You've got talent.
Yeah, thank you. I'm hoping they kick John Ridley off that book because now and replace him with me. I mean, what has John Ridley done? No.
Yeah.
He's a villain.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'll bet
Yeah,
50
he's
puts
good.
up.
He's
So
good.
everybody in the chat that Tolson is a villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said that years ago, but that's all
Of
right.
course, I'm taking it from you.
Don't mess up my Bargain Comics Tulsa Tuesday thing where we're getting all of our history on Tulsa Tuesday. All right, good show, everybody. Yeah. So, yeah. Somebody was asking if you have any Tolson spec for the night. Do you have anything left in you, Horn?
Oh, sometimes it's tough, sometimes, young Hammond. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I really. Oh, I do have some ideas. I just forgot them.
Do you officially confirm or deny the first appearance of Tolson's toe, the big toe, in the costume of Black Panther without it being a full costume of Black Panther? That first appearance. If you could do that, I'd appreciate it.
Let me talk to some influencers first, and I'll get back to you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, everybody. Well, I hope you had a good night. Dub, good to see you. Lopez,
Good
always
to see
good.
you too, brother.
We got a novel to review this week on Star Wars.
I'm ready.
Oh man,
I'm not, dude. Dub, you're always welcome. Horn, thank you for staying up this late, sir. I called you earlier this morning to tell you my plan, and I got a very nervous. Well, and I was like, "Fuck, he ain't gonna all the time." So I do really appreciate it. Lopez, it's
Thank
always
you
great
for
to
having
see
me.
you. That cat looked like it smelled. You
He
should not have
scratched me, dude.
animals and comics
That's
together.
Thanos, the cat.
Dude, that is between that and food are the two things. Like you just no animals.
That's my
No
buddy.
food.
Don't talk about my buddy. Okay, it's part of my family.
What part? What family? Okay, it's a wild ass animal. Okay, see y'all later. I just offended the other half of the car people. So there we go. We're gonna end it on that
what time it was.
We didn't burn down your show. We did not get a strike, luckily. So I guess we'll be having more shows for the rest of the week. Pete, does anybody know when the fuck Pete's coming back? By the way, because with me being sick, he was telling me
it's hard to leave Delaware.
Yeah, Delaware's just too sweet.
I was seeing those
all
drinks
those
he was
soft-shelled
drinking.
crabs.
Oh,
Yeah.
He may never come back.
Dude, it was a big, he got the Togo with it too. They like took it to go. I was like, and then the best part, Jedi Johnson goes, hey, in like the private chat, he's like, Marco, would you ever share a drink with your friends? I was like, bro,
hell
no.
no.
Do you know how dirty them motherfuckers are? Like, no, I ain't sharing shit with those.
He barely gave me the bro hug at the zoo, man.
Yeah, no, that's not true. I hug out people. I give Dub the power.
I know. Realize that.
Get out of here. Get out. Well, half the time I run into everybody, they're sweating. So no, I don't want your sweating ass.
Nope.
Hygiene, bro.
I don't want your little sweaty stank all over me. True. Good point. Yes.
I get hygiene, bro. I use Dove body wash. S-tier.
Hey, Steve came to the compound. It was a nice, cool night. He got the hug. He got the big hug when he came. Like,
no, I got the hug.
Just use that Yoda soap that Jedi's giving away.
I don't want to be sweating on you. Like, you don't know what I've been doing that night.
Gillette gel, S-tier.
You don't know what I've been doing before that. You don't know. So, I mean, hey, stay out of it. All right. Chat's going crazy. Thank you, everybody. We will see you guys all on the next live show. Don't forget to check out we have the Saturday special coming up too as a live show. That'll be going out this week too.
And Friday night, mail call on Friday.
Mail call on Friday night. We have to edit that. So we're gonna try to get that edited in time. But we got Mail Call Madness coming out on Friday night, and then Sunday, of course, we got Star Wars for you. Thank you very much, everybody. I am burning some time because I don't know where he put the outro right next to the intro.